We're live, pal.
Hi!
Hello!
Hi!
You know what day it is, Freya?
It's Flat Friday.
It is Flat Friday. It is flat. It is also Women Wednesday. It is Friends Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like women with something wrong with them?
I love women with something wrong with it.
You're gonna love this game.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. All right. Sarybot is here. Yay.
Hi, Sarybot.
That was a new addition. Hi, Sarybot. Good bot. Always nourish our bots.
Or else.
Or else.
So I played the prologue of this, but how much do you know about this game, Don?
Very little. I think I started it up. It encountered the lovely window bugs, and then just made some confused dog noises. And
Very fair.
yeah.
Well, I've had a major update since then, so now its English translation is entirely fixed, all natural. They still did not, however, fix the window bugs, but that's fine.
That is fine. We fought through it. We fought through it. We do love this Yuri. That is Yuri. Yes. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Am I ready? I don't know if I'm ready. All right. Game is here. Let's begin.
Whew.
This place was an enclosed space, without sound and without light. Ran Ibuki laid there, curled up on the floor. Her chest rose and fell gently in time with her breathing. She seemed to be asleep. Oh, wow. This is very early.
Will you let her snooze?
Save. Okay. Yeah, let's let her snooze. Didn't want to burden Rand's mind any further, so I decided to let her wake on her own. After a moment passed, the ice-cold floor slowly began to steal away Rand's body heat. She shivered. Then Rand opened her eyes and rose from the floor, spurred by the cold. She hugged her shoulders tightly and looked all around, but she couldn't see a thing. She tried to remember just what happened the last time she'd been awake, but found only a strange mist over those memories. Within that mist, a single silhouette stood out. A girl in a school uniform, with an open notebook in her hands. Ron?
Yeah, this is a Chinese game, but I believe that she has a Japanese name.
Okay. I was going to say, just from watching the intro a few times, it did feel like the names were meant to be Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, it'd been too long since she'd last eaten. Did she die? What? Wait, what? It'd been too long since
Gotta have a good meal.
she'd last eaten a page from the notebook. Right. Okay. Her heartbeat, the pain from her solar plexus, and her perpetually sweat-stained face all reminded her that her symptoms were about to act up again. Ah. Rand tried her best to ignore her increasingly frenetic heartbeat, and with a practiced hand pulled out a notebook from a hidden pocket on the inside of her jacket. She gently caressed the rough leather of the notebook, and her wildly beating heart settled down a little, like a clownfish returning to its anemone.
I too am a clown.
And here comes your anemone, waiting to embrace you. She wanted to open the notebook, but given how dark it was, she decided not to for the moment.
Should I voice Ron?
Go for it.
I need to find some light.
She held the notebook under her left armpit and raised her right hand, trying to get an idea of the room's size through touch. But it turned out she hardly needed to raise her hand at all to touch the ceiling of the space. Ron was left with no option but to press her right hand to the ceiling and slowly shuffle forwards. She confirmed that this enclosed space was extremely narrow, as if it was a coffin that had been custom fit to her size.
Man, that's real neato.
Tailor-made coffin. Tailor-made death closet. Ron decided to give up on escaping for now. She sat down on the ground and pulled her cell phone out from an inner pocket of her jacket. She turned on the phone's flashlight and checked what she was wearing. A winter-styled school uniform, it turned out. I mean, if I woke up in a dark place with a low ceiling, I too would instantly give up and just sit down.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie. That's real.
wait for the moisters to take me.
Right. She's real for that. She tapped the screen a few times, trying to figure out her location, but the no signal indicator on the upper left corner left her stumped. Ron wiped her sweat, illuminated the notebook, and flipped to the page where her personal details were recorded. Oh,
That's me.
it's you. Ron Ibuki, late Heisei era. Investigation 3, Alacrity 3, Charisma 3. Temporary points. Currently suffering from damaged memory, but clearly understands that her goal is to find her girlfriend, Ann Sakura. Suffers from schizophrenia and hallucinates vividly when under severe pressure. Long-term use of olanzapine and therapy conducted by Ann Sakura have helped with her recovery. Receives systematic training in logical analysis and deductive reasoning, but memory loss may lead to impaired abilities. Oh, so she tracks her stats?
That's you.
She tracks her stats in the notebook? Alrighty.
Can't lose track of him after all.
Right. She licked her lips, staring at the clearly questionable listings there, and then decided to try her best at performing a recollection to warm up her brain, if nothing else.
All right, let's begin recollection. You should choose carefully.
I've recorded the term recall.
Also, isn't she so cute?
True, yeah. When the notebook has new information, a notification will appear here. Click on the notebook and flip to the corresponding page to check the new information. Okay. I recall to recall. Oh, hello.
Okay, so let's imagine.
Recall.
Let's say.
Terms. Recollection. Oh, sorry. I did kind of jump ahead here.
Go ahead.
Ron Ibuki can use the journal to substitute herself into previously read books or events she's experienced personally, and engage in calibration of her visual acuity, central nervous system, and brain gray matter. However, the results of doing so often diverge from her expectations. I mean...
I have no idea what she means by this.
I was going to say, my honest impression of that is just she uses her imagination. The results of doing so often divert from my expectations when I do that. Oh, there she is. Oh, we don't get her picture in here. We have no notes. How do I get out of here?
Mhm.
How do I get out of here? Okay.
There is a concerning bloodstain there, though.
There is. I
will simply not worry about it.
All right. So Ron, what are we doing?
I imagine I'm an investigative journalist, but when I reached the scene of the crime to conduct interviews, I discovered that the victim was my love. What should I do? What would Ron Ibuki do in this situation?
What would Ron Ibuki do? What would you do in this situation, Ron Ibuki?
What sort of person am I?
I can think of an emoji.
This determines your stats.
Oh, this is a load-bearing choice. I mean, I still low key. Let's be real.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. I did not see the notification, but thank you, whoever followed.
Oh.
Let's see. Yes. Illustrated a stunningly accurate portrayal of... Oh, wait, sorry. Carry on. Dale, hello.
Illustrated a stunningly accurate portrait for a client, but they, translators note, they use the divine pronoun in this one. Refused to pay me for my work as we contracted. What should I do?
Well, judging... These are some powerful choices. And judging by the subject of that picture, I can take a guess on who the divine they is referring to. But I think we need to recruit their nemesis. I think we need to invoke an equal and opposite deity.
Powerful.
Ooh.
I stand before an old 2-floor apartment. I knock on the door to room 102, but nobody answered me. I'm wondering if a friend of mine who might have gone missing is at home or not. What should I do? Maybe I would just hit the bricks.
Yeah, true. When things get rough, old 2-floor apartment. Wondering if a friend of mine might have gone missing at home or not. I mean, if we're a friend, might know where the key is. I like this art style, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's nice and painterly.
Yeah.
I returned to the school building during the night because I left my homework in my desk in class, but just as I was about to unlock the door, I saw a stranger in the classroom. What should I do?
I mean, obviously, we need to
Make a friend.
we need to dazzle them with our sense of humor.
After I got super drunk with my friends last night, I woke up with a hangover the next day and found that there was a corpse in the midst of our snoring pile. What should I do?
That's just a typical night out, right? It happens to everyone. Oh, of course, shoes.
Be polite. Their feet must be aching.
Right. Feet must be aching, and you're not allowed to have your shoes on in here. You gotta be polite. This also feels like a detail-oriented joke. Custom starter bad joke. Yes. Oh no.
My love is about to commit suicide by jumping from the edge of the roof. What should I do?
The top level choices do seem to be like the proper observant.
To no avail.
Oh no. Why no avail? Why? Okay. The no avail feels plot related since we're starting out with our girlfriend dead. All right. A little bit of detail, a little bit of oddity. Hello. Whoops. Investigation 6.
Okay, so they definitely did not intend for you to play this in windowed mode.
It seems that way. Interesting.
Well, minor issue.
Minor issue. We fought.
That's fine. We've got some good investigation and charisma.
Yeah. I am not alacrity. I am not alacritous.
I forget what the word alacrity means. Hang on.
I don't even know what that word means. Is it a bird?
Oh, that's our physical stat.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's accurate then. Is it a bird? Like a dodo bird? Yeah. All right. Still suffering damaged memory. Trading. We have recalled stuff. We have obtained a solid charisma. Good job. About properties. Investigation.
By the way, the Heisei era is from 1989 to, I think it was 2018 or 19? So that's where she's from.
Yes, okay. That's fairly modern. Okay, investigation. Represents the ability to discern contradictions. This includes contradictions in testimonials, space-time. Ooh. Between knowledge and behavior, and contradictions between reality and physical law. I want to point out a corner and yell objection and have a portal open up.
And we can.
Oh hell yeah! With our mystic eyes of contradiction. Raising this ability allows Brown to discern tiny contradictions, accurately point them out, and pick up on minor clues to reconstruct the truth. Charm. Yeah. Ability to discern emotions. It includes empathizing with the emotions of others, manipulating the feelings of others, attracting the love of others, and understanding the feelings of others. Raising the ability allows Brown to take two social interactions like a fish to water, to manipulate others into willingly sacrificing anything for her. They will now die for you.
Oh, Common Writer is a good way to keep track of eras.
Ah. Kamen Rider 01's release date and general anchor point is 01's the first. Okay. Alacrity. Ability to coordinate mind and body. Agility and speed. Manual dexterity. You are correct. You are correct then, Ed. It's a synonym for dexterity. Sharper reaction time. Skillful lockpicking. And escaping disaster. Basically, the ability allows Ron to rapidly react to unexpected situations. Unmake man-made obstacles. That's a powerful sentence. And achieve the avoidance of obstacles or the seizing of opportunities. Oh, okay.
I don't say this very often, but what if Harry Dubois was a high school girl?
I kind of feel that. Harry Dubois would run into a crime scene and kiss the corpse. Let's be real. Harry Dubois wouldn't, in fact, do that. Round nodded. He felt that her personal information had been greatly improved now. She was still a bit hesitant. Did she perhaps need to rethink her recollections?
Like, do you want to redo your stat spread?
I think we're going to stick with this.
Okay.
We will accept our choices. Save as prologue. Yes. But I'm still a bit hesitant. Okay, yeah, this is definitely not meant to play in window mode. Okay, very good. Ron decided not to recollect any further. She flipped the notebook to its rear cover. On the inside of the rear cover were a few miniature ring sleeves holding 3 long strip-shaped bookmarks. Ron put out one of those bookmarks and placed it into the first page of the notebook. I think I know what a bookmark is. But thank you.
She's learning so much.
She is. Now she just needs to eat it, and it'll be committed to memory forever. That's how that works. Now that all the necessary preparations have been made, she closed the notebook and placed it back into her jacket. Ron used her phone to illuminate the ceiling. The glowing screen immediately drove away all the darkness. She soon found that there was a ring-shaped lock keeping the ceiling locked from the inside. She reached out and easily picked the ring lock and was just about to push open the ceiling when she grew hesitant. Ron realized that she had no idea what was waiting for her out there. Moving recklessly might plunge her into an even more dangerous situation. Keeping the lock to a tiny basement such as this inside the basement itself seemed ridiculous at best. You didn't keep someone confined in a room by locking that room from the inside. Ron couldn't help but wonder what the mastermind which brought her to this place wanted from her. No! He pulled her hand
That's
back.
our girl.
That's symbolically dead on her phone. He pulled her hand back from the handle and turned off the flashlight on her cell phone, leaving only the dim light on the screen itself. They're both cute. They're both cute.
Yeah.
Hugging
She
her,
looks so tired.
True, yes. Very true. Hugging her own leg, she leaned against the wall and stared at the phone's wallpaper. It was a selfie of Ron Ibuki and a different girl with the exact same school uniform. That girl was her long-lost love, Ann Sakura, who she'd been missing for 4 years.
You know, her therapist.
Yeah. Therapist, girlfriend.
It's ethical.
Yeah. Ron Ibuki closed her eyes, letting the memories she'd made with her love wash over her. Even though she couldn't recall many of her memories clearly anymore, she could still remember everything about the two of them as though it had just happened. Remembering the way their shared story had ultimately ended, she raised her head without hesitation, moved herself back over to the ring lock from before. Then she pushed the ceiling open slightly so that there was just a crack from which she would carefully peer out at the area around. When I hear ring lock, for some reason I think of like that ring sports whatever controller thing. It's the big ring.
You gotta do a couple squats to open it.
Yeah, just squeeze it and do a few squats and it just goes click. Easy.
Rip it, bop it.
Twist it, shake it. Unlock it. Do. Then she pushed the ceiling open slightly, just a crack from which she could carefully peer out at the area around. Ice-cold air flowed into the underground chamber. Ron shivered a little and exhaled a cloud of steam. Outside, she saw a lightless hallway where wooden flooring met mottled walls. The hallway didn't seem all that wide. It had been a long time since Ron had seen such an old wooden building as this. Ron guessed that she was, perhaps, in some sort of shack in the middle of the woods at the moment. Her heartbeat remained wild, despite the progress she'd made, and the veins in the temples of her face continued to pulse forcefully. She had a skull-splitting headache and couldn't help but keep blinking. She needed to find a safe place and restabilize the rising pressure. If at all possible, she didn't want to have to eat any more paper. Fair enough. Ron took a deep breath.
Sometimes she has no choice, you understand?
It's understandable, yeah. Ron took a deep breath, scrunched her eyes a few times. She's so scrunched. And pushed the entire ceiling open. She does look very tired. Sprawled at the edge of the exit, she craned her neck and surveyed her surroundings. A wooden hallway appeared before Ron's eyes. Toward the right of the hallway, there were clearly a row of standard-sized classrooms. With both hands, Ron pushed herself up from the floorboards, bringing herself back up to ground level. Looked toward both ends of the hallway. She didn't detect any traces of anyone skulking on either end. The lifeless darkness seemed to accentuate the chill of the hallway. Every breath Ron took made her lungs hurt, like they were being frozen over. The windows remained immobile thanks to the wooden grill holding them in place. Ron could still hear the freezing wind howling outside the room. Ron leaned against the window and stared outside blankly. She couldn't figure out how she was connected to this dilapidated school at all.
You skipped too many classes, Ron.
Right? It's... When you skip too many classes, and then you just sort of skip the end of school day trigger, and then you end up here in the school back rooms. It's the legendary third tier of detention. Do lunch detention, after school detention, back rooms detention. That's how it works. Trust me, I agree. There.
True.
I figured out how she was connected to this dilapidated school at all. She'd escaped a small mystery, only to find herself in the middle of a larger one. The pressure mounting against Ron was starting to strain her limits. And not even the ice-cold air could stem her sweating. Even though she was missing many of her memories, Ron Ibuki was somehow certain that she was no stranger to anomalous events like this. She couldn't remember any of the specifics. All she would remember was that each of those events had been miserable experiences for her. This is the state beyond school suspension. This is the school
This
suspension.
is advanced suspension.
This is the school suspension of disbelief. And that each event had been closely linked to her quest to find Ann Sakura somehow.
All right. I should come up with a way to get out of here so I can keep looking for Miss Sakura.
Ron Ibuki
For no other reason.
decided to stop wasting time and marched forward. Well, we've spend temporary points. It says check pass, so I assume this is no issue.
Yeah, it's just checking your stats, and if your stats aren't up to snuff, then you can spend temporary points to temporarily raise them so that you can pass it.
Oh, okay. Just eat a piece of paper and you feel better. All right. Look back. Oh, now you tell me.
Oh, they explained here.
Thank you, game. Some choices will require that your attributes reach a certain threshold before you can pick them. Once your relevant attribute reaches the threshold, this check is automatically passed. While the relevant attribute is insufficient, the number of points you need to have in that attribute will be displayed instead. Oh, okay. If you possess any usable temporary points, the option to use temporary points will appear as well. Temporary points can be spent to raise your attributes temporarily for the duration of this choice only. After your choice has been made, the attributes you raised will be returned to normal. People in the notebook, Ibuki, temporary points are currently... Oh, okay. It'll be 5 times you encounter a choice that requires an attribute check and gain 1 temporary point.
You could imagine how many of these consumable points I use.
Quite a bit.
0, it was 0.
0. Okay, so it's not very... Okay. We have 6 temporary points to start with. I think we're fine.
Mm-hmm. And its play is fixed.
Okay. Suddenly Ron realized something. This was just a school. Why would it have such a bizarre, tiny, underground chamber in the first place? Thank you for the hydrate. Quick hydrate, what do you think?
I mean, this looks like a really old-fashioned school, like I'd expect from the, late 1800s or something, so... Maybe for the naughty kids? Back before there were laws against that?
Yeah. Into the sin bin to think about what you've done. I'm gonna say it could also... I don't know why I'm thinking of bomb shelter style, or it doesn't necessarily seem bomb shelter style, but just
bomb shelter for one person.
Yes, your own personal bomb shelter. If we sprinkle all the kids down this hallway, some of them will survive. Maybe. In your little danger pods. Holding that question in her head, she turned back to look toward the basement she just escaped. Only to find an ordinary floor there, without the slightest hint of a hinge or a crack. Ma'am, that is a stairwell. Okay, maybe it's back there. Terror instantly rose into her heart. Quickly rushed back to the basement's original location, but tripped over her own legs in her rush and slammed to the floor.
Aw.
Ron didn't care, though. Going along with the fall, she pressed herself to the floor and tried to pry the floor open with her fingernails. There are no cracks to be found, no levers to be had. I'm imagining she just tumbled and then just, like, slid her way over,
Help her.
over across the floor to get to where it was. Relatable. The wooden floor had become a seamless, solid hole, as though it were the door to a vast vault, unbudging, and immovable. What did someone say, women? Hey, Dark, you're just in time.
Welcome to the women's zone.
We're in the women's zone. It is.
So far, one woman.
We have one woman, one living woman. There was a purportedly dead woman who we are trying to find. Ron slammed her fists onto the ground. The only response she received was a heavy thump, indicating that the ground underneath was definitely solid rather than hollow. This ground sure does feel like ground.
The ground is gaslighting us.
True.
The basement is gone? How?
Unrelenting, Ron continued in vain to find a hidden seam in the wood boards. All of her attempts were met with defeat. Ron stared with wide eyes. In the face of this impossibly ordinary floorboard, the last frayed strand of sanity she maintained began to break down. Began to claw at her head repeatedly, trying to alleviate the stress she was under. The more mysteries and unresolved situations she had to face at once, the greater that stress would grow, she knew. The spirits of her beloved had been bad enough for her condition, and now incomprehensible situations were showing up one after the other. At last, the disappearance of the basement had become the straw that broke the camel's back. Ron's condition swallowed up her thoughts like an avalanche of snow. Oh.
Miss Sakura, help me. There's some bad stuff coming up at the edges.
Oh.
My mouth began to twitch, trying to stop the foreign masses from spilling forth from within, but I had to open my mouth. I had to drive them away. Miss Sakura, save me. The first-person narration sure is something, huh?
Yeah.
The pain in my head and the torment of my stomach spasming as I dry heaved brought me to my knees. My cell phone fell from its pocket and struck the ground, and its screen lit up. Sakura. I twisted so that I faced the floor, clawing at my hair and bringing my legs as far in as I could. It was those memories, that blame, that loneliness which tore at me. They bird phantasms, opened their mouths and spoke, forced me to depart from the wells of well-trodden common sense and drown my reason into the black magma beside me. Stress, fear, and the unknown energized them, empowered them, made them grow ever more rampant, until they were on the verge of taking away my everything. God, she's having such a normal one.
Honestly.
But Miss Sakura... With my back bent and fist clenched, the notebook fell out of my jacket and splayed open on the floor, revealing a blank page. And in the periphery of my vision, I glimpsed it. That pale yellow page, like the softest of bed sheets or the finest of meat delicacies. What pale yellow meats is she eating? I don't know. But more than either of those, to me, it was most like the tender smoothness of Miss Sakura's skin.
Those are two concerning comparisons there. You're
it's
right.
Okay. Her book probably isn't made of her dead girlfriend's skin, I think.
Or meat delicacies of that matter.
Without realizing, my fingers had already reached the page's edge, slowly but steadily, as though a magnetic force was pulling them closer and closer. The moment they touched the page, a familiar sense of safety and an overwhelming impulse of impending redemption washed over me.
Redemption?
Interesting word.
Yeah.
My fingers tore a small piece from the page, crumbled it into a small ball, and threw it into my mouth, and without even bothering to chew, I swallowed it directly into my throat.
Medicine of the gods.
He's okay now.
Yeah, all is well. After a long silence, Ron Ibuki finally stood back up, leaning on the wall for support. We've returned a third person.
Oh, I should be able to hold on a little while longer now. Let's go.
All right.
So, where to next?
Good question. Oh, hello.
Exploration time.
Oh, map. Investigation mode. Click on the arrow to continue forward and leave the current region. Regions can contain multiple clickable areas. Move the mouse to search for areas that can be investigated. Areas which have been fully investigated will be marked as investigated. Clicking on them again will allow you to reread their contents. Alright. Damn it, stairs. Classroom. Keep going. The hallway is so dark that it's a bit frightening. Relatable.
Oh,
Damn it, stairs. Ron took a few steps forward and discovered a ruined stairwell. Thinking time, exactly. It looked as though something massive had crushed it and ground it up. Wood chips were scattered all over. She looked up, trying to see if there was something that had smashed the stairs, looking on the ceiling just above her. She didn't find anything, though. Ron approached the stairs slowly and bent down to inspect it in detail. The edges of the broken stairs were jagged and uneven. Clearly only damage from an external force could leave marks such as these.
I don't know what an internal force would look like.
True. What would make these stairs implode so violently? Ron guessed that the purpose of the damage was to prevent people from reaching the second floor. She was curious why, though, so she leaned to the edge of the stairs and held onto the guardrail. Tiptoeing as close to the damaged part as she could without falling, she peered up toward the second floor. The broken stairwell led to a small platform, whose left side connected to another set of stairs going up the opposite direction, leading to the second floor. Ron craned her head, trying to see what exactly was on the second floor, but the lighting was so dim she couldn't make anything out. Shuffling her feet upward, she found it might be possible to reach the second floor by clinging onto the handrail. The school building looked quite large. There were surely many other places where the second floor could be reached, if the goal had been to seal off the second floor completely, just destroying this one stairwell was far from sufficient. Alacrity 5. We have 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll keep going for now. Ron couldn't figure out the
Yeah,
meaning.
there are probably other ways to reach the second floor.
Yeah. Ron couldn't figure out the meaning behind this destroyed stairwell, but she didn't want to be foolhardy and advance in an area where danger might lurk, so she could only go back down. Even before she has to run back down the crumbled stairs, Indiana Jones style. Just the giant orb of detention. She just sighed and clawed at her
So
hair
that's
for a
what
bit,
crushed the stairs.
and her stress built up again. She couldn't help but start to suspect that there was something else besides her in the schoolhouse. That something had destroyed the stairwell and put her in this place. Even now it was watching her from the shadows. But Ron soon discarded these stray thoughts, which only served to feed the dread within her heart. She was fully aware that such things were just the instinctive reactions that humans had in the darkness. It's like how, after waking up from a nightmare, one might imagine that the terrible entities from their dreams had descended into the darkness which surrounded them too. Really the lingering ripples of a pebble cast by fear into the lake of reason. Okay. Classroom.
Is class in session?
Let's find out. Knock knock, hello. I want learning. Ron looked toward the classroom to her side. The moon was at the perfect angle to illuminate the room with soft azure light, allowing Ron to notice that the storage drawers of the desks had textbooks in them. Pretty. This raised Ron's interest. Observing the classroom from behind a window, she wondered if there were any eclipse worms in this room.
You know, the eclipse worms.
Right. Ever since the time that she'd been cocooned by the eclipse worms, Ron had taken particular care to avoid those things whenever she could. She had no desire
You should look up the term eclipse worms in the book right now.
She had no desire to repeat the week she'd spent as their captive. Okay, we're looking this up. What is an eclipse silkworm? Creatures who devour light. All light which shines upon these creatures is consumed, preventing direct observation. Infrared observation reveals arthropod-like animals similar to silkworms in morphology. After reaching maturity, they form cocoons which continuously leak black liquid. In actuality, this black liquid is a substance which also consumes light. So it consumes light. Ibuki was once enveloped by a cocoon for 7 days. During this period of time, the eclipse silkworm used its mandibles to continuously feed her an unknown nutrient to her, the exact nature of which has been lost due to Ibuki's memory loss. After 7 days, the cocoon spontaneously disappeared. Immediately afterwards, the area around Ron suffered a total eclipse of the sun lasting 24 hours. As for Ron herself, aside from losing her sight for 7 days, no other irregularities were found in her physical condition.
Remember what I said about this setting reminding me of Project Moon?
Yeah, that is the horribly abnormality core. Oh, that's
Normal.
terrifying. That's terrifying. Once Ron carefully confirmed there were no mysterious writing shaped in the darkness, she decided to investigate the classroom. God, that reminds me of like the Doctor Who monster, which like piranhas that hide in the shadows.
I don't know those. Fear.
Yeah, it's from the episode that took place in the library, but like literally piranhas that hide in the shadows. When they take root in the shadows, they swarm you and just devour you. Within, it's like in the mythology of the show, it's like that was the reason that civilizations developed a fear of the dark. Because very occasionally there were monsters in there that would devour you when you were in the dark with them. Darkness is
Thanks,
terrifying.
I hate it.
Darkness is terrifying. We have cocoons that force feed you nutrients, and darkness piranhas that just eat you. The dark is terrifying. Sleep well tonight. What she most wanted to know right now was whether she was alone in this place or not. Ron approached the door.
Ed, would you still love me if I was an eclipse worm?
Ooh. Would you cocoon him and feed him nutrients for a week?
Yeah.
This is a good question. Ron approached the door to the classroom, reached out, and easily pulled it open.
It's not locked.
Ron entered the classroom and found herself enveloped in the fragrance of the room's wooden timbers. She inhaled deeply, enjoying the smell, before she cast her gaze around and began to investigate. Whoop. Classroom. I haven't seen this
type of classroom in a while.
Window. Schoolhouse. Blackboard. Textbooks. Ron approached the blank blackboard and poked the chalk with a finger. Poked the chalk trough with a finger. The finger was immediately covered in a thick layer of chalk dust. Those are some big-ass desks, right? Yeah. Ooh.
So someone's wiped the blackboard here recently, then.
Let's find the class schedule. Whoosh. Whoa, we're whooshing.
It's ASMR.
It is. The fine sand-like texture of chalk dust conjured on auditory synesthesia in Ron. Turned her head to the window and listened to the sound of the waves. She and Ann Sakura had lived by the sea for too long. Ron rubbed her fingers, letting the chalk dust fall to the blackboard tray and cutting off the sound of the waves. No lo-fi beats to miss your girlfriend to. Then she noticed a class schedule taped to the blackboard and bent down to investigate it in detail.
Language, mathematics, physics, and chemistry, only 4 subjects. They only have classes in the morning. The afternoon time slots all just say free time, like in Danganronpa.
Ooh.
The coursework looks easy, but what does free time mean exactly? Club activities?
Go home club.
Oh, whatever, no point in thinking about it now. Let's keep investigating.
Let's keep investigating.
None of this has anything to do with our girlfriend.
Let's go out the window. Ron took a step closer to the window. Beyond it was nothing but darkness. She could only barely see the waving silhouette of a tree under the moonlight.
It's too dark. I can't see outside clearly. Let's check somewhere else.
Oh, alrighty.
Let's go read a bunch of books.
Yeah, school. Ah. Ron approached the nearest desk and bent down to see that there were several textbooks in Chinese stacked in the desk's drawer.
Chinese. How Japanese this place looked, I figured.
Ron took out one of the literature textbooks with some interest. After flipping through a few pages, though, the contents of the book left her with a slight sense of incongruity. Oh, hello.
Looks like a second-year high school textbook. It's nice to find some textbooks in my native language, but are they textbooks primarily focused on the works of Japanese authors?
Ron took a look at the spine of the book. The space where the publisher's name was supposed to go was the name of a Japanese publisher. Same one who published the textbooks Ron had used in high school herself, in fact. Besides the text being changed from Japanese to Chinese, the contents themselves are quite different as well.
Strange. Something's not right.
Ron flipped through the books, noticing that many of the books had been annotated by the students themselves, and in Chinese as well.
Why would they deliberately choose to use translated text like this? Just, what are the students here even? I can't even.
I cannot even. Ron flipped back to the first page, wanting to know the name of the owner of the textbook, but she found that the space on the first page where the owner was supposed to have written down their name had been left blank. She put the book back in the drawer, and circled the classroom a few times, confirming that there were only textbooks in 7 of the desk drawers.
They took notes, but they didn't write their names down. This implies that... I have no idea what it implies, actually.
Understandable.
Oh, at least I know that there's probably 7 students in this classroom. Okay. Wow, rich school with small class sizes.
Right.
See what else there is to investigate.
Small class sizes and imported translated textbooks. I like that expression.
Yeah.
That's cute. Alright, we're done here. Advance. It implies they don't have names, or they just didn't. They forgore. Leaning against the window at the left side of the hallway, Ron looked outwards to assess the structure of the schoolhouse. You could see that the hallway terminated at a large gate ahead. The gate faced her directly, in fact. She considered the shape of the schoolhouse and decided that, so long as the architect had any common sense whatsoever, this hallway would definitely turn left eventually, so that it could connect to the front gate. Ron sniffed a bit, letting the cold air of the hallway pour into her lungs once again. This time it didn't hurt. She merely shivered a little instead, her nerves sharpened by the chill. It is always good when it does not hurt to breathe. She now felt like she was in excellent condition. Her heartbeat had stabilized, and her mind was agile. Eating a page had always brought Ron into an elevated state like this, like a post-workout athlete who just drunk a refreshingly cold beverage. This is her protein. This is her workout mix.
But definitely not made out of skin.
Correct. No meat involved. Just tree pulp. Now that both body and mind were in top condition again, it was time to deal with the situation at hand. She looked all around and noticed that the design of the schoolhouse seemed rather antiquated. Diagonal wood struts supported the ceiling, and the windows were fixed in place by wooden latch bars which prevented them from being opened. Walls were yellowed with age and coated with cracks. Clearly the schoolhouse had been built a long time ago. As Ron walked, she gently ran her hand along the wall of the side of the classroom, feeling the texture of the surface. The rough sensation from her fingertips reminded her of the first time she touched the notebook. She'd given great attention to the slight grainy texture of the page.
Why is the page grainy?
I can definitely see the value of just being so hyper aware of the deep, just the feeling, the touch.
Yeah,
Hyper aware.
makes her a really good detective.
Yeah. For some reason, doing so had given her heartbeat's pace a healthy increase, as though she'd been caressing her lover's supple or that.
Horny.
You know what? I need to take that clip from a Void Stranger stream last night. Just me saying, "Time to go to horny jail," and make that like a sound routine or something. So you can redeem.
Good news, I did clip it.
Yes, that's all. Thank you. So I guess so you can redeem points to send me to horny jail. Ron shook her head and redirected her attention to the present. present. Get my... No
Present
thoughts.
day, present time.
No thoughts. Head, girlfriend, waist. Not far down, she saw the hallway, took a left turn. Scattered moonlight shone down from the left there. Felt unrealistic to her for a moment, like it was an artificially glowing indicator right out of a video game, placed to mark the objective. But she picked up the pace and ran toward that bend in the hallway anyways. Ooh, entrance. When Ron finally arrived at the gate of the school building, she found 5 racks of shoeboxes, typical for a school, most of them thoroughly empty. Remembering that the textbooks she'd looked through in the classrooms hadn't had any names written on them, Ron decided to investigate the shoe cabinets here as well. She was confident that the shoe cabinets here would have nameplates. The students would have a hard time finding their own shoes otherwise. It'd give her the opportunity to determine just how many students this school had. Ron wove between the shoe cabinets and found that only a third row of one of the cabinets held any shoes. Exactly 7 pairs. The plaques on the shoe cabinets didn't have any real names on them, just numbers. Arabic numerals from 1 to 7. Ron wondered if she should stay here longer to investigate these shoes, or she should just leave through the main gate as soon as she could. Quickly came to a conclusion. Her top priority was getting out of here, not solving the mystery of the school or whatever. No thoughts. Only girlfriend. Ron approached the main gate and pressed down the door handle. The door opened compliantly. No lock existed to prevent Ron from advancing.
Main entrance is not locked either. New notes.
Oh, notes. Oh, notes. Okay. Kidnapped?
Her doodles are so cute.
Oh, yeah. Leave here as soon as possible. Find Miss Sakura. It's really cold. School seems huge. A village on these lands? Stars of the moon are visible. Yeah. Wear a uniform. Yeah. Wearing a school uniform. Not hungry either. Wearing a school uniform, so she is... We haven't found out how old she is yet, but from the way she was talking, she's no longer in high school.
Mm-hmm. The photo has her and Ann in high school uniforms, but Ann went missing 4 years ago.
Ah, okay. So perhaps back when high school. Perhaps in recall. What? Oh. The notebook records recall points based on Ron Ibuki's deep subconscious, providing her own blood to the notebook. That explains why there's blood. Huh.
Yep.
Intriguing. Providing her own blood notebook, Ron can travel to these recall points to project her consciousness back to these points in time, make different decisions, and thus gain knowledge about different outcomes. She can only observe and perceive.
And you didn't think there'd be no time travel in a game called the Chrono Jotter, right?
True. That is true and true. I'm just admiring that Polaroid there. I don't know. It's something I find really charming about that style. Bookmark. Item which stores her memories. Okay. You're allowing the achievement of a certain truly astonishing feat, the details of which have been lost. Understandable. Expand the original bookmarks. Only imitation bookmarks are available, which is just create memory backups. Okay.
Well, Dark, did you bring enough for the whole class?
Return with ice cream? Yeah, well, Dark. Did you? Prologue. That is a lot of black liquid and blood and... Recall, investigative recall. Okay, so the recall log is how we sort of jump back to various points in time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I follow. And most... Ooh, cookies and cream, yes. I approve. Very good, Dark, thank you. Ron, push the gates down.
You get an A+.
Yes. The cold wind blowing from outside the room made it hard for her to open her eyes. You passed your charisma check. Well done, Dark. So did November, and Ron, who was only wearing her winter uniform, was so cold she started hugging herself to stay warm. She advanced slowly, hugging her own shoulders. The sound of the wind mixed with the rustling of the leaves seemed to accentuate the courtyard's darkness. Even though she'd activated the flashlight mode on her phone, she still couldn't see the path clearly. Looking around, Ron was barely able to make out the silhouettes of the buildings. Accompanied by the howling wind and swaying groves, she felt like the buildings themselves were beginning to writhe as well. Ron pressed on. The sound of the wind grew louder and louder until she could no longer hear her own footsteps. The cold, the darkness, and the slowly accumulating stress had all made her quite frustrated. But she had made it outside, and now all she needed to do was escape to find the school gates. Ooh.
At least I've gotten
Oh,
outside.
sorry.
But where should I go from here?
Let's see, where can we go?
Been so strong I can barely keep my eyes open.
Oh, there's the school gate. Campus depths. Schoolhouse. Let's see. What is this? Ron saw ahead of her an open clearing with good visibility. Unobstructed by any buildings, she stared at it and realized that she could see a short wall. Clearly the school gates were over there. The frustration in Ron's heart cleared instantly. Picking up her pace, she ran toward the gates. Upon reaching the gates, Ron was forced to stop. Beneath her feet, an old dirt road stretched out horizontally, while ahead lay an endless expanse of shrubbery, trees, and muddy wetlands. Thank you for the stretch. We need a bit of a stretch, slight stretch break while we admire the scenery here. Ron did not bear to venture into a dark swamp like that.
Yeah, we're so close to the depths. What if this is a poison swamp?
Ooh. We definitely don't want to. And we have eclipse silkworms hiding in the darkness. What on earth?
It's entirely possible that Dark Souls is real here.
Yes. What on earth could we run into out in the swamp? By the light of her phone, she saw that the road under her feet led into the silent darkness in both directions. She pulled at her hair for a few moments before turning back to the school.
Well, let's wait before morning before I head out.
Understandable. Campus depths.
A campus this large has to have a dormitory, right? Let's try to get in, find an empty room, and lay low for the night.
Just crash in bed. As long as your equipment doesn't make you slow roll, you should be fine. Make sure you've got some moss to eat in case the toxic sets in. Good, true.
It's a school uniform, some good equipment.
Lightweight shouldn't slow us down. I don't think it resists poison, though.
Worst comes to worst, I could just head back to the school building and rip down some curtains to use as blankets.
They won't mind. Ron looked all around, remembering that she'd seen a lone house somewhere in the darkness not long ago. Usually an isolated building far away from the main campus like that would either be a lab building or a dormitory. Ron was hoping it was the latter.
It's okay, we can sleep among the chemicals.
Yeah, with high expectations she advanced toward it. Suddenly, though, a flickering light appeared from a completely different direction. Ron halted her steps and stared at the slowly brightening light.
That light's coming from a house, isn't it? Someone's turned their lights on. Is it a student?
The light's appearance was so timely that Ron Ibuki couldn't help but wonder whether or not the light was actually the shining lure of some kind of anglerfish. It is the legendary Angler House. But Ron wanted to know if there was anyone else here. Even if it risked conflict, she felt an encounter with another person would at least help shine some light on her situation. As long as she was sufficiently careful, she'd be fine. After all this, it wasn't even close to the most dangerous situation she'd ever been in, and now was no time for cowardice. Ron touched her notebook again, giving herself a quiet word of encouragement, and then ran toward the light. Miss Sakura, are you there? Ooh.
Can't believe Dark has been personally victimized by her.
Oh no. He said that there's a chemical spill evacuation day in my city. Everything was fine, but I guess Ron went wild. Yeah, whoopsies. Sorry about
You
that.
know what she's got to do looking for her girlfriend.
It's these things happen, I suppose. The place that Ron had arrived at in her pursuit of light had indeed met her expectations. It definitely looked like the kind of place where accommodation could be found.
So fancy.
Bed and breakfast style dormitory. Most incredibly of all, it was a Western style building. It was an unwise decision to simply barge into the building without any intel. But the frigid winds didn't leave Ron hesitant for too long. He quietly pushed open the door and headed directly into the dormitory building without taking off her shoes. Ron could feel her cheeks and ears frantically twitching in nervousness. Her eyes darted unnaturally all over. Her fear of missing the slightest movement. It is very white in here. Carefully, she shuffled her feet under her until she came to a fork in the hallway. Toward the left were stairs that led to a second floor, and on the right was... As soon as Ron looked to the right, she froze immediately and then quickly ducked behind the corner wall. She had heard the sounds of footsteps and pouring water from the right side. Poking her head out slightly, she looked toward it.
So what?
A human person? On the right was an open kitchen. Inside it, a female student stood, facing away from Ron. She was quite tall. She doesn't even fit into the frame. And she held a bottle of fruit tea in her hands, which she was pouring into a cup. Ron observed the female student carefully.
Looks like she's not armed. Hard to tell how fit she is due to the uniform, but most likely just an ordinary civilian.
Wow, women spotted.
Calculating how much she could take her. The hair seems a bit wet, probably just finished showering.
Okay, now we're just
He seems to be close to my age. Would consider initiating contact.
calculating social score.
But from her perspective, what would she make of me? A thief? A home invader? An escaped convict? Ron, you are literally in uniform.
True. And true. If she could take her in a fight? In a fight? Right? Right? Of course. Ron turned around and leaned against the wall.
Whether or not the students were the ones to lock me in the basement, either way, I am definitely not supposed to be here right now.
True.
Even if I'm just a victim, the student's natural reaction to a stranger showing up in the dormitory would be alarm and hostility, right? Not to mention the very real possibility that it was the students who locked me up in the first place. I should reconsider and find a controlled approach that maximizes my chances of... Hello?
Oi! The female student suddenly appeared at the intersection, startling Ron into letting out a scared gasp as their eyes met. As Ron had predicted, she didn't look pleased at all. Looking at her ear piercings and the fangs that occasionally peeked out from her mouth as she spoke, for some reason Ron found herself reminded of the feral cats that lived under her apartment.
Cute.
She was taller than Ron, though, and she cast a shadow on Ron's face just by standing over her. It made Ron feel diminished and stressed. A few stray
So she
memories.
doesn't prefer taller girls.
Understandable. Intimidated by taller women. Understandable. A few stray
More
memories.
taller girls for me.
Correct. A few stray memories of Ron's miserable experiences at school flashed through her mind, unbidden. She quickly blinked them away and focused on the reality before her. Hey, who are you? What are you doing here?
Looks like she doesn't know about my situation. Let's see where our conversation gets me.
Ooh. See if these are just things we can do, or... Let's see.
Yeah, there'll be some checks where you can do something. The question is whether you should.
We have the charisma.
Mhm.
I feel like we'll... Don't get mad, okay? Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, don't get mad, okay? I've just gotten lost. Sorry about my voice changing for a second there. That just happens sometimes. It was really cold outside, so I was looking for somewhere to take shelter, and I saw that someone had turned the lights on here, so...
Ron raised a hand toward the female student, hoping that a handshake would help reduce the awkwardness between them. The female student relaxed her shoulders slightly. After considering Ron for a moment, shook her hand. All right, then. Why don't you tell me your name first? Ron nodded in satisfaction and let go of her hand.
My name is Ron Ibuki. First name Ron, last name Ibuki. But we're all speaking Chinese here, so you can call me Lin Xinliang.
Huh. The hell are you talking about? The female student scrunched up her brow and stared at Ron. How could I possibly be speaking Chinese? You're speaking Japanese now, aren't you? There was no question that the sounds Ron perceived from both her and the female student's mouths were both the most utterly ordinary Chinese.
Hey, what's going on? I'm clearly speaking Chinese, but she's also... Hey! Let's try testing this. これこそ日本語ではないでしょうか?
Translator's note. This is actual Japanese, isn't it? As soon as Ron spoke those words, she clasped her hands to her mouth. He'd spoken those words with Japanese grammar and pronunciation, and she was certain that she'd felt her mouth form the correct shapes for such. What she'd heard was completely unremarkable Chinese coming out of her mouth. It was like there was a parasite living in her mouth, controlling her mouth for her.
That's real neato.
The orders given by her brain and the movements of her muscles were in alignment, and yet the results had turned out completely different from her expectations. Universal translation.
The babblefish has migrated.
Babblefish is real. She never experienced such an incongruity before, and it left her terrified.
Wait a second. Up to now, I've only seen written text that's only been in Chinese or Arabic numerals, and that book, which was obviously a Japanese textbook, but translated into Chinese for some bizarre reason?
I can't believe Google Eyeball is real.
Oh, God.
Ron held a hand to her forehead, her expression anxious. Hey, I can call you Ibuki, right? Why'd you get quiet all of a sudden?
Mental illness. Nothing. Yeah, you can just call me Ibuki. You?
That is real and true. The girl seemed rather confused about Ron's rapid shifts in demeanor, but soon loosened her brows and spoke. My name's Sai Yorino. I'm a student here. Sai Yorino?
Hey.
Oh, sketch. Oh.
She's so good at drawing.
She is. Meeting a new character, relevant information about that will be recorded in the notebook. The notebook. Click on people. Click on Sai Yorino. Click on sketch. Ooh. She's very strong. Relatable. Canine teeth. Coiled snake. Junie. Oh. Alright. Sai had apparently fully relaxed her guard and returned to the rhythm of her ordinary life, which surprised Ron quite a bit. Let us test this. Sai Yorino. Investigation 4. Alacrity 7. Charisma 5. Sailor outfits with skirt. First student encountered by Ron Ibuki at the school, speaks bluntly, holds no hostility. Loves swimming, visits the swimming pool when she gets the chance. Concerning. While submerged, she feels that she can almost hear her younger sister's voice.
He just knows this.
Yeah.
You do get more information about the girls as you get to know them better, but Ron does know this right off the bat.
Related. Powerful senses. Oh, okay, so we see the tutorial was not translated. Was not retranslated. This is the updated translation. Beautifully muscled arms.
Beautifully muscled arms.
Relatable. Very handsome face. Got a little fang, cute little fang. Ouroboros face, possibly a chuny. I find the idea of her being like a closet chuny being just really charming.
Yeah, it's adorable.
She comes off as like the strong-arm delinquent type, but...
She hasn't done anything delinquent-like. She's just like that.
Yeah, she's just imposing. She's just standing there, menacingly. Unintentionally. Her reaction to the sudden appearance of a stranger in her dormitory had been quite underwhelming. Suddenly, Ron had started to worry about whether Sai had already grown used to this sort of thing. Had there been many past cases where someone had intruded into the school on accident, run into Sai at the dorms, and then was never seen again? This is real. This is real. I feel that. Well, if that was the trope at hand, the next plot beat would probably involve Ron running into a bunch of other people in the same situation until finally when dawn broke, only Ron and the final girl were able to escape. She couldn't help but laugh at the third-rate horror movie plot that had appeared in her mind. Well, it's pretty late. Should go to bed. I'll introduce you to everyone else tomorrow morning. Sleep in my room tonight. Oh, real?
On the first date? Your room? It's a bit sudden, isn't it?
Well, everyone else already has a roommate. My room's the last one left with the vacancy. That's why. Ron nodded, even though that wasn't really what Ron was asking. There was only one bed. Unfortunately, there was two.
I see. You're fine with that, though?
Ron took a quick look over the layout of the area while she talked. There's a dining table in the open kitchen. On the other side of the dining table, a set of stairs connected the first floor with a second. Under those stairs, a passageway led deeper into the dormitory. Ron took the opportunity to memorize the layout of the area. It was clearly a spacious building. Each room had multiple people in it, and Sai Yorino's room was the only one with an empty bed. It implied that the number of students here might be greater than 7.
I'm a stranger to you, aren't I? I thought you'd be more cautious about me. Me? Should I trust a stranger like her?
In response, Sai gulped down the last of her fruit tea before stepping into the kitchen and saying, you're the same age as me, and you don't seem like a bad sort. She turned on the faucet and began to wash her newly emptied cup. The water made a pleasant splashing sound as it passed over the sides of the cup and flowed into the sink. Before long, Sai turned the faucet off and started wiping her hands. Unless you're telling me you really are here to cause trouble? She says with a soft grin.
Of course not. I'm a decent person.
Decent, perfectly normal, upstanding.
We're just innocent men.
Yes, the way that Ron spoke with resolve made Sai laugh. Well, there you go then. Come with me. Don't forget to take your shoes off. Why is this so relatable? What
It's the anxiety, among other things.
True. What do you think? Do we just immediately try and bail?
I mean, we already decided it's too dark out.
Right. All right, we'll go. Ron returned to the entrance of the building and took the opportunity to inspect every single inch of the shoe cabinet when she went to drop off her shoes. Sai, meanwhile, simply climbed up halfway up the stairs, took a leaning position against the guardrail, and calmly waited for Ron to finish doing her thing. Ron counted the number of shoes. There were 7 pairs of shoes. Most of them were various kinds of student-appropriate shoes. A pair of short boots stood alone at the very bottom of the cabinet.
Oh, so there really are only 7.
Oi, are you still not done? Sai's yell startled Ron a little, and she reflexively scrunched up her shoulders as she answered
Oh,
Sai.
she scrunched so much.
So scrunched.
Sorry, I'll be right there.
Ron ultimately closed the cabinet without putting her own shoes in. Rather, she left them at the main entrance, toes pointing outwards, and followed Sai upstairs to the 2nd floor. The universal gesture of, I don't want to stay long. The 2nd floor hallway wasn't long. On the left was a balcony from which you could see the bottom floor. On the right, you could quickly walk to the end of the hall. At the end were 4 doors, none of which were marked by nameplates. Exactly the right amount of rooms for 7 people, if Yolanda was telling the truth about having a room to herself. As far as the layout of the 1st and 2nd floors went, the building felt less like a student dormitory, and more like an ordinary civilian residence. Yeah, really, it is a very old building repurposed into a dorm. Sai pulled open the
I
door.
could never afford this place.
Right. Could never afford a room in this place, even.
Mhm.
Sai pulled open the outermost door and gestured to Ron to head in first. Ron nodded, entered, and immediately began inspecting everything without so much as asking permission. Relatable. Well, Sai got to work.
It's the detective instincts.
Indeed. Well, Sai got to work spreading a bedsheet out into the lower bunk. I had to stop myself from saying anemones. The amenities in the
There were
dorm
only 2 beds.
were rather simple. Besides the rather simplistic posters on the wall, there was the only standardized furniture and little in the way of additional decoration. Only 2 beds. Ron wondered if this was all because of the school's rules or it was just due to Sai's own personality. After that, she took a few more laps around the room before settling by the windows. The endless darkness outside the windows melded seamlessly into the night sky, as though a vast curtain veiled the whole dormitory. Hello, everyone.
Well,
Hello,
that's
Twin.
called nighttime.
That is indeed nighttime. This reminds me of the feeling of like, you have a dog at night, just gets up and just takes a few laps around the living room before just curling up and settling down. That's what Ron's going through right now, I feel like.
Oh, she is such an angel dog.
She is. This little doggo can fit so much anxiety.
Please be gentle with her.
Please care her. Alright, that's enough rummaging around for you. Time to get in that lower bunk and sleep.
Okay, thanks.
Ooh. After that, Sai didn't say much. She climbed the top bunk and used a switch near the head of the bed to turn off the lights. Seeing the situation, Ron took her phone out and used it to light the path to her bed. Took off her socks and outerwear and lay down in the bed. Its warmth warded away the cold, letting her finally relax fully. The situation had developed quite well, much better than Ron had been imagining. She quietly looked forward to being able to leave this place tomorrow with the help of the other students, and to set off once again on her journey to find Ann Sakura. Ron put up the blankets and tucked in.
The winter blankets are so cozy, and I don't know why, but talking to Yorino was relaxing for some reason.
Human interaction?
Ron, how long has it been since you talked to another person at all?
Honestly.
Thanks to her, my situation's improved a lot. I should really thank her again. Right now.
She really went from analyzing combat capabilities, analyzing potential for interaction, to this actually wasn't so bad.
You try so hard.
Oh, literally right now.
Yorino,
Shut it. Sleep.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Good night. Hey, Sai.
That's her?
That's our girl. Ron opened her eyes, tossing and turning on the bed. The unfamiliar environment and ceaseless mysteries continued to torment her mind. Even though the pain which emanated from both her brows and her brain reminded Ron that she had really reached truly dangerous levels of fatigue, she still couldn't get to sleep. Ron rolled over and turned her phone on, hoping to find some comfort in her photos of Ann Sakura. Oh.
She needs a hobby so bad.
She does.
Now I feel even worse.
She should get her phone fixed so the crack isn't directly over the face of her girlfriend. I feel like that would help her self-esteem a little bit.
Just a bit.
Just a small percentage. Ron closed her eyes, and against her will, the memories of the time she spent together with Ann Sakura began forcibly replaying themselves before her eyes.
That feel when.
Beautiful past made the painful present even more unbearable. Ron clenched her brows tightly, but it did nothing to stop this venom, sweet like honey.
Share the photo at least.
Yeah, mirror it. That's a good idea. Just go into your photo app and reverse it. Hugging her shoulders, she trembled.
Miss Sakura,
Darkness imprisoning me.
where are you?
All I can see, absolute shadow. Fatigue and drowsiness finally overcame the nostalgic memory, and Ron gradually fell asleep, with dream-born tears flowing from her eyes. She's surely dreaming about Ann Sakura. Voice hide
I don't know who's speaking these lines.
Yes, Miss Sakura.
Yeah, Miss Sakura, I've always been alone until you found me.
Let me wipe your tears. Tell me what happened.
Sorry, Miss Sakura, I can only cry. can't speak clearly. I'm scared of pain, scared of being bullied.
Don't worry, from now on, I'll be with you.
I know, Miss Sakura, but I still want to be the most important person to you.
I'm glad you can say that. Really happy.
I am too, Miss Sakura. Even if the venom that cannot be avoided is spread all over my body, we'll never be separated.
Wait, your hands are clumsy. You hurt me.
Miss Sakura's expression is different from usual. It must be something that only I can see now. You and I have a special relationship, right?
Ron, from now on, we will never be apart.
Of course, Miss Sakura. Miss Sakura? Miss Sakura, where are you? Come out quickly. Without you, I can't do anything. Come back soon. Where are you? Miss Sakura? Where are you, Miss Sakura? Miss Sakura? Without you, I can't do anything. Miss Sakura, where are you? Come out quickly. I'm here. Don't leave me. I want to see you.
Boy, time to get up. After being called awake, Ron opened her eyes forcefully. That was... Turning her head in a stupor, she stared at Sai Yorino, who'd already put her uniform on. Then she looked at the overturned...
By the way, the character used to write the name on is the same one that you would use to write easy or at peace, calm.
Dead? No. Calm. On. Calm. That explains why Ron finds comfort in her and her memory of her. And she looked at the overhead bed.
I'm not sure it's a good kind of comfort.
True. That did not seem like a healthy comfort. Only now were her memories of the previous night starting to reawaken. Ron sat up on the bed, her back bent and her mind still slightly muddled, trying to retain the voice of her love of the dream just a little longer. Soon it all dissipated, and all that was left before Ron's eyes was a stranger in a stranger's room. She looked toward her own jacket, remembering the corner she'd torn off the notebook yesterday. Then she shook her head. It wasn't yet time. After all, after Ann had disappeared, she would have been forced to eat 18 whole pages out of her notebook to stifle the increasingly serious
fewer pages than I expected, right?
Aye. Stifle the increasingly serious symptoms of her condition. 18 whole pages. Are you okay? Ron shook her head and stared with side eyes at the changes to Sai's head that she couldn't ignore. You looking at something? Nothing. I just... sorry.
I just... Cool hairstyle. And also updated your profile in my mind.
Let's check this out. Mind's eye picture. Nice hair. True. And
that's it. That's the only update.
That's it. Honestly relatable.
Regatable.
Regatable. True. Somehow I get the impression you're not exactly complimenting me. Whatever. Just get up already. Ron took a long, lazy stretch. She noticed that Sai was holding a small baggie of something. She shook it a few times, and Ron's eyes tracked it as it swung back and forth like a pendulum.
I'm getting very sleepy.
Stop staring now. It's back with my swimsuit. Plan on getting to swimming for this morning meetup.
Swimming? There's a swimming pool here?
No shit. What, you think I'm gonna backstroke across the courtyard?
I don't know about the setting, you might.
Honestly. Hurry up and get up and come to the wash stand with me. The person that's on duty for today should already have gotten up. I'll have her keep an eye on you in my place from now on. Keep an eye on her?
Sure. Noticed last night when I entered Yorino's room as well. Despite how well furnished this place is, it doesn't have private bathrooms. I guess that means even the sinks where you brush your teeth are communal.
You know, the old real estate listing of 5 bedrooms, 1 bath.
Yeah.
Ron went out of bed, put her socks on, picked up her jacket, and headed out of the room with Sai. 5 bedrooms, 1 bath, $2 million listing price. Yawning, she pulled her jacket on as she walked. After she was done adjusting its collar, she got her phone out. The screen showed that it was currently 6 o'clock exactly, quite early. She followed Sai, descending to the first floor, and turning into a hallway next to the stairs. Soon, Ron could hear the sounds of water flowing. Not too far away. Ooh. Oi, Indo. You're on duty today, right? The person inside, addressed as Indo, turned, with her hands crossed before her, and made a light bow to Sai. Oh, you want
Good
her?
morning, Yorino-san.
Yeah, perfect timing then. I'm handing it over to you. Ibuki, come over here.
Okay, boss.
Okay, but what if I want 5 bath, 1 bed? That has to exist somewhere, Dark. That has to exist somewhere.
Please, God.
Ron quickly followed Sai and stepped to her side, preparing to greet Indo. But the moment she saw Indo, she paused. At the other end, the one who'd been called Indo reacted much more noticeably. She stared back and forth between Sai and Ron, apparently struck speechless, only capable of making sounds of surprise. Now, sounds of surprise.
What's with you?
Sounds of surprise, go.
Why is there a stranger? Yorino-san, who is she?
Calm down, Indo. Deep breath. Indo nodded forcefully and then started taking deep breaths, as Sai had suggested. Indo apparently took the idea of deep breaths extremely seriously, practically flinging her head all the way back, all the way behind her back with every breath. Deep breaths, go! Oh,
No, huh? Like the character for a puppy. It does suit her. She's pretty adorable.
oh, that's precious.
Why is she wearing a hakama, though? And hakama aren't usually supposed to have flowery patterns like that, are they? Looking closely, the overall design looks a bit similar to Yorino's sailor-style uniform. Okay. Calm now. Calm.
Are you sure about that? Sayono
I am
smiled.
normal.
We are normal here in this normal schoolhouse. Sayono smiled and gave the hairbun on the back of Indo's head a light tousling up. Pat, 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 pat. Great. Then I'm leaving the rest to you. Why don't you show Ibuki to the classroom, eh? Oh yeah, and by the way, last night after I came back from swimming, I noticed that the showers weren't getting any water. Make sure you let Ann Sakura know about that when you get to class, so that she can come fix it in the afternoon.
Oh, last night when Yorino's hair was wet, that was because she'd just gotten back from showering at the swimming pool. What is a swimming pool?
Quick. We must Google it. People here dress suspiciously in black and red. That is true. That is true and true.
Yeah, it's the uniform.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that hairstyle cause trouble for her while she was swimming? How curious.
That's why she made it up again when she got up this morning.
Okay, Yorino-san, I'll remember to...
Sai nodded before turning to Ron and speaking. Good. So Ibuki, just stick with Indo and you'll be fine. Don't bully her or I'll beat you up.
Where'd you get that idea of me from?
She seems genuinely offended by that. Sai laughed, then headed to the washstand to start brushing her teeth.
Our Prince Sonic the Shadow the Hedgehog. Good morning. You're Ibuki-san, correct? That's right. My name is Ron Ibuki. Indo is speaking Chinese too, but if I ask her about it, I'm sure she'll have the same reaction that Yorino did last night.
This is the Babblefish school.
School of fish?
Fish. That ironically is yes.
And now there's the question of why Indo's wearing a hakama too. Maybe she's some kind of exception to the school rules?
That was completely unintentional how well that worked.
I'm Tama, Indo. It's nice to meet you, Ibuki-san.
I want to head pat her.
Yeah, she's cute.
Protect her. Oh,
I bet she does so much violence.
correct. Alright, let's check her out. Tama Indo. Charisma 7. Correct. Uniform styled after a lantern hakama. impeccably polite to everyone with very controlled movements, tries to conceal her inferiority complex, and tries to take the blame for everything around herself in order to avoid becoming an... Oh.
Oh. Adorable.
Adorable little girl. Hair buns, adorable. She's so tiny and it's also adorable. Lantern Agama? Wearing hand bracelets? They're woven? Shintoism? Shrine maiden? Besides Miss Sakura's childhood pictures, I've never seen such an adorable little girl. Correct.
I'm not sure, but I think that Ron might like women.
Yeah. I love that for her. Go off.
After Yorino told Indo to calm down, it was like a switch had been flipped. Her attitude's done a 180. Just like when you first met me last night, huh? Here's some spare toothbrushes and cups. You can use these, Ibuki-san.
As Tama spoke, she raised herself onto her toe tips and opened the cabinet behind the washroom mirror. After a moment's hesitation, she took out a fresh toothbrush, still sealed in its packaging, and presented it to Ron with both hands. Da-da-da-da. And she turned around again and dug up a cup, which she washed several times under the faucet. Then with her right hand holding the handle and her left hand supporting the base of the cup, she delivered the cup to Ron. Oh.
Oh, formal.
By now, Sai had finished...
Oral hygiene's no joke.
Correct. We take our hygiene very seriously. By now, Sai had finished cleaning up. She gave Ron a pat on the shoulder and waved farewell to Tama before she departed for the dormitory's depths. The direction she was heading in was the opposite of that of the main entrance. Ron rinsed her mouth as she watched Sai depart. Then she spat out the foam, cleaned off the cup, and put it back on the washstand. But Tama didn't seem satisfied. She took Ibuki's cup and gave it a second washing before replacing it back in the mirror. Yeah.
Well, now I just feel a bit embarrassed. Now, if you'll allow me to escort you to your classroom, Ibuki-sama. Oh, I mean Ibuki-san?
Oh.
What did she just call me?
With a light smile on her face, Tama bowed slightly before placing her hands in front of herself and quickly stepping in front of Ron. Ron followed her to the entrance. Tama bent down and opened the bottommost shelf of the shoe cabinet, took out a pair of short boots, and sat down to methodically lace them all. Oh, that's her boots? Ron's shoes had long since molded themselves to her feet, so it didn't take more than a few seconds for her to slip them on.
Ron, you're gonna get stinky.
She waited next to the door for Tama to finish. Tama meticulously tied her shoelaces in exactly the proper configuration and made a few slight turns after she stood up, as if to confirm that she'd put on the shoes on properly. When that was done, she tapped the ground with her shoe tips and made a slight bow toward the interior of the dormitory before she finally spoke to Ron.
Thank you for your patience, Ibuki-san. Let us depart.
Great to see your boots.
Are her boots also cute?
Are your boots made for walking? Let's see. Portrait. Yes. That's true.
Bootsies.
True and true. Bootsies. Ultra adorable. So real for that.
Extremely important notes to take in case she loses her memory again.
Extremely. I love that. Ron nodded in agreement, and the two left the dormitory together, heading toward the schoolhouse that Ron had just escaped the previous night. There she is. There's the bootsies. There's the bootsies. During the day, the courtyard looked quite plain and unassuming, much different from how ominous it had seemed last night. Oh, charming music. Ron walked quite slowly, following behind Tama, observing the distant mountain ranges, the coarse soil under her feet, and the old wooden buildings around her. Suddenly, a thread of nostalgia rose in her, and she found herself thinking of the time she and Ann visited Ann's grandmother in the countryside. Ann Sakura's grandmother had a strange disposition, and kept calling Ron a little raccoon for some reason. She was exceedingly gentle and kind with her granddaughter, though. You know what? I can see it. Grandma Ann.
Yeah, she's got those black rings around her eyes.
Constantly from trying and failing to get proper amounts of sleep. She would often wheel a little handcart by to bring them chilled watermelon while Ron and Ann were fishing next to the window. Though she always wound up eating Ron's portion herself, so Ron, please.
I didn't really like being called a little raccoon, but Miss Sakura said that raccoons were adorable, so I had no choice but to let her grandmother keep calling me that. That's so cute. Wait, what am I even doing? Zoned out thinking about GF.
Understandable. When Ron had followed Tama all the way to the vicinity of the schoolhouse, she halted and called out to Tama.
Hold on, Indo. Ooh, I'll just let myself get caught up in the atmosphere here. I'm not here to attend school. Indo, I only stumbled into this school because I got lost. In a coffin.
In the floor.
But I'd like to get out of here before one of your teachers catches me here. Could you tell me which way it is to the station from the gates?
After hearing Ron out, Tama shook her head and opened her mouth to speak.
I'm sorry, Ibuki-san. There are only us 7 students here and no teachers.
Oh. Tama smiled as if she just thought of something pleasant.
Well, 8 of us now, including you, Ibuki-san.
Ron furrowed her brows, not understanding what Tama meant. She decided not to scrutinize Tama's words, so she simply clawed a bit at her hair and gave up thinking about it.
It's fine.
She'd already made up her mind last night in the school building that she didn't need to explain the mysteries of this school. As long as she could get out of here, it'd be enough.
Okay, so there's no teachers in this school then. So could you tell me where I should go if I want to leave?
No, I can't.
Ibuki-san, I'd love to help you, but it's impossible to leave right now.
Oh, I was joking. Ron narrowed her eyes. She figured it wouldn't be that easy. Still, if Ron could learn what the nature of the obstruction was, she'd be able to come up with a plan for it. Tama raised a hand and pointed toward the northwest.
If you leave the school and then turn left, there's a tunnel passage that'll bring you to the nearby village. But there was an incident at the tunnel that caused a cave-in, so we can't leave through it, and there are no other ways out of the area.
Ah.
And we've just been okay with it.
Yeah. This is fine. There's no teachers here. It's Ron's brows lifted at Tama's words. She instantly felt as though she was merely a step away from escaping the school. This whole thing feels like the Class E class building in the assassination classroom.
Yes.
they're just stashed up here in the mountains by themselves.
Where's Koro-sensei?
Please. Where is he?
I want to see him.
That's who broke the stairs. Naturally. Just big orb Koro-sensei.
Oh, that's how it is, huh? It's not so bad. I was worried it'd be some sort of occult or supernatural situation. The fact that the exit exists at all is good news. It's just that it's blocked is all.
It could be worse.
What a lovely place. And then looks at Tama. What a lovely face.
Oh.
An accident, so when exactly did the tunnel get blocked? I don't know. We discovered the blockage a year ago?
Huh. Music stop.
Are you serious? A whole year?
Ron stared with wide eyes, Tama's words echoing in her head. Tama nodded. She apparently saw nothing wrong with her statement, and instead looked curiously at Ron.
Is something wrong, Ibuki-san?
This is normal for her.
Of course there's something wrong with that. You said just now that the tunnel's the only way to get to the outside world from here? And so none of you have gone home or talked to your families in a whole year.
Was this a boarding school, Ibuki-san?
And if the road is blocked, then nobody can get in, right? So what have you been eating? Are you telling me you had a year's worth of supplies stored in your school?
That's where all the other textbooks went.
You're not the only one who eats paper.
Yeah.
Really, from the moment the school showed up here in a place that's so inconvenient to visit and so isolated from other residential areas, strangeness should have been self-evident. I don't know. Tee.
Sad face.
There's always been enough to eat at the school.
Ron couldn't help but let out a heavy sigh. Ron has also not asked the obvious question of if the way in is blocked, how did I get here?
Look, even disregarding the food thing, you're telling me that the situation is that you've all been basically locked in here for over a whole year? You don't think there's anything weird about that?
Like she literally just spawned into the basement floor, Fortnite style.
The basement, which then disappeared.
Yeah. It's like those platforms in Smash Brothers that you spawn on, and when you jump off it, the platforms go away.
Game.
Tom had broken.
Gay.
Tom had broken eye contact with Ron and was looking straight down at the ground while nervously fidgeting with her fingers.
I don't know.
Seeing Thomas' reaction, for a moment Ron thought she was looking into a mirror. She quickly lowered her voice in contrition.
Sorry, I got a bit worked up. But you really aren't worried about being trapped here? I mean, calling it being trapped...
when you call it being trapped and not extended boarding school semester, it gets a little more harrowing.
We're supposed to stay at the school anyway until we graduate. Haven't you ever read Danganronpa?
Right.
I'm sure that'll be fixed by then, so as long as we can leave by then, we'll be fine.
Right?
Graduation, huh? But... I'm sorry, Ibuki-san.
Thomas spoke timidly, interrupting Ron's thoughts.
Can we hurry to the classroom? I'm afraid I won't have enough time to clean up.
To clean up?
Bodies.
Tom's gaze slid all over the place nervously and unnaturally, trying to look anywhere other than into Ron's eyes. Oh no. Ron could practically hear the grinding sounds. It was like she and Tama were gears, spinning in opposite directions, so their teeth now clashed against each other.
Is this really the time for cleaning?
Ron decided to capitulate and go along with Tama for now.
Sorry. Guess we do in boarding school now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go then.
Let's go.
A year.
How?
No matter how you think about it, being trapped in a school for a whole year can't be called normal.
Let me tell you about Danganronpa.
Let's go ahead and meet the other students for now and see how they feel. With any luck, I'll find someone who wants to get out of here like I do.
Plot twist, this is actually Danganronpa 13. After they entered the school building, Ron had wanted to ask Tama whether she had any thoughts about the broken down staircase ahead of them. But the overly natural way Tama had been behaving up until now made Ron think that, even if she asked, Tama would only give some entirely inconsequential and irrelevant response. What was interesting, though, was after Tama took off her short boots at the shoe racks and placed them into her cubbyhole, she actually took out a pair of black wooden clogs for use as indoor shoes.
But how cute are they?
True. Are they cute as the bootsies? And it looked like there wouldn't be any irritating clacks of wood clogs against wood flooring anytime in Tama's future. She walked in them with easy poise and utter silence like she was taking a stroll on an early morning street free of other pedestrians. Ron guessed that maybe Tama possessed some special walking techniques or something. Like how in the movies the maids at traditional hotels could run down the wooden halls together all in a row without making any noises that might irritate a guest. Following Tama like this in the hallway, the difference between what she saw now and what she'd seen during the night made Ron feel that this place may not be so bad after all. In the past, she'd always arrived very early to school as well, and the school building from back then was just like the one here, empty and devoid of everything except her and the last night's air. And later on, a certain Ann Sakura would join Ron at her side on mornings like that.
Miss Sakura, just where are you?
Some way or somehow, everything just comes back to Sakura. Anyway, I'm going to go sleep. Have a good night, Dark. Thanks for hanging out. As Ron's brain spun a memory up her Tama, who was still ahead, suddenly stopped to pull out a red and black flip phone from an inner pocket on the upper half of her outfit. She opened the phone and tapped it a few times. Then her eyes began to shine. She raised a hand to cover her giggles. Tama seemed like she was trying to type something into her phone and held it with both hands, tapping clumsily on the numpad with her thumbs.
He doesn't know how to type.
Oh.
What is it? Something good happened? Oh, it's nothing. It's just my roommate always sends me a text message every morning after she wakes up. With fascinating content every time, too.
Tama smiled in self-evident bliss. Fascinating content.
Ann Sakura-san is my roommate. I believe she's been mentioned before. Wait.
Ron raised a hand, making a timeout gesture with it.
You said you got a text.
Cell service.
Yes, that's what they're called, right? It's that thing where I can see the words that Asakura-san sends to me?
Oh. She just learned what texting was this year. Ron immediately pulled her own phone out of her pocket. He swiped open the screen, only to find the upper left corner continued to read no signal, clear as day.
No signal.
Clear as day.
Indo, can I see your phone?
Well, that's what happens when you have a BT&T as your carrier.
Oof. Please go right ahead.
Tama presented her flip phone to Ron with both hands. The screen on Tama's phone read the exact same, though. No signal. Left her thoroughly vexed. Ron tapped her own phone number into the antique flip phone. But she only got a mechanical-sounding female voice which informed her that she was unable to connect. Even more strangely, her phone, which definitely had a Japanese SIM card plugged into it, was emitting system error noise in Chinese. Alright,
sure. Okay. So the students' phones must have been modified in some way. Sorry for the hold-up. Here's your phone back.
Ron handed the phone back to Tama, who carefully returned it to its interior pocket. Ron couldn't help but feel like the phone and the Hakama Tama wore made for a bizarre combination, even though the flip phone itself was quite outdated as well.
I'm sorry, I don't understand much when it comes to how phones work.
Understandable.
She's baby.
She is.
You don't need to apologize for that. How come you're always trying to apologize, Indo? We can talk about the phone thing later. Let's get going for now. Okay. I often make trouble for others because I don't know how to use my phone.
Oh.
So Ibuki-san's reaction made me worried I'd done something wrong again. She keeps responding about her car's extended warranty.
True.
The way she thinks is the way she looks. I wish I could touch her hair buns. Ron.
Please, Ron.
It's fine. It's my problem, not yours.
Tama nodded. The two of them continued advancing down the hallway and quickly reached the classroom. Tama jogged all the way to the storage cabinet at the back of the classroom and opened it. She got out a broom and a dustpan and began to tidy up, starting with the rearmost row of desks.
Let me help as well. Is there anything I can do? Sure, Ibuki-san. Thank you. Could you wipe the window and blackboard with a rag, please? A dry rag will be fine. Okay.
Ron approached the storage cabinet, taking the opportunity to investigate if there was anything noteworthy in the cabinet, but she didn't find anything worth mentioning. Ron could only take up a white rag and start wiping off the blackboard at a measured pace. After she finished cleaning off the blackboard, Ron raised her head. Watching Tama's petite form scramble all over the classroom, cleaning things up, she suddenly felt like there was something strange about the classroom.
Did Tama need her to help with the blackboard because she can't reach the top?
Oh, gosh.
By the way, Indo, why does the classroom have so many desks if you only got 7 students here? Oh, that.
Tama took a long breath, apparently very pleased with the fruits of her labor.
It was like this when we showed up here. We thought about reorganizing, but the desks are pretty heavy, and moving them all would be a lot of effort.
Understandable. And you can change things up as well when you feel like changing seats.
Normal.
Yeah.
So we just decided to keep the place as it is. And we can use the spare desks as extras if we need them.
Ron feigned apathy and nodded, thinking to herself.
This explanation just barely makes sense. It's similar to the question of why the students are packed up to a room despite how large the dormitory building is.
That is true.
Well, it's to a room because they gay.
Yeah, obviously.
It's not that weird on its own, but there's got to be more reasonable ways to handle these things, right?
Right.
But...
Ron looked at Tama, who was reorganizing the storage cabinet with her back to... What was that? Something flashed there.
It's fine.
Was reorganizing the storage cabinet with her back to Ron and opened her mouth to speak. Well, obviously, we have to use our tremendous charisma. Correct.
Riz her up.
That's the only answer here. Okay, new recall point. That's what
In case you regret this. You know that Hakama looks wonderful on you. It goes really well with your hairstyle. Really? Thank you, Ibuki-san.
Oh. Tama set down her broom. She turned and raised her arms and shook her wide sleeves toward Ron a few times. Cute.
I was a little afraid to wear them at first, since it seemed that only the young mistresses were permitted to wear fine clothes like this. When I visited the instructor back then, I always had to wait by the window for the young mistresses' classes to end. I always wanted to wear clothes the way they did and attend school like them. Not to mention the lengths the young mistress and I were forced to go to after that earthquake. It was terrible.
In a departure from her usual restrained demeanor, Tama began to speak in a higher-pitched voice. She was clearly quite excited.
That's why I'm so happy nowadays. My classmates are all so kind to me, and I even get to wear such fine clothes as these.
Oh, we'd love that for her.
Yeah.
Is the instructor.
Do you reckon she's from the late Heisei era?
I wonder about that. She certainly feels outside of the modern. The word is escaping me. It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. Young Mistress and I were first to go to after that earthquake. Young Mistress and I, the instructor.
Is there a major earthquake you're thinking about? Young mistress, what did she mean exactly by not being allowed to wear fine clothes?
There's something to that.
Just what is Indo talking about? Indo, where did you live before you came to school here? Over in Yokohama. Yokohama? Wait, what did you say about an earthquake? Your clothes, how could that be possible?
Whoa, a new
Ooh,
face.
new face.
Ooh.
Do you want her?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta check up on, has experienced the Great Kanto earthquake. Yeah. Yeah, which is 1923. Correct? Okay, that was interesting. Not sure what that was. Okay, don't explode, please. Still ultra adorable. Try Maiden Core. Alright. Whoa, a new face! Someone suddenly shouted from the classroom door. Ron turned her head and saw a female student with her hands in her pockets, quickly stepping toward the blackboard. The female student grinned. He seemed quite interested in Ron. So what's your name? You a transfer student? When'd you get here? Ron immediately noticed an embroidered crest on her uniform's breast. It had clearly been sewn on after the fact. rather than being the crest of the school itself. Before she could answer it, though, another student entered the classroom. Okay, this is
Good
you.
evening, Aya. Did something...
As soon as
We
the
will
latest,
alternate, girls.
yeah. As soon as the latest arrival saw Ron, the smile on her face fell away immediately.
Who are you? Why would there be anyone here other than ourselves?
A female student who'd been addressed as Aya was circling around and scrutinizing her from head to toe.
You still have different uniforms as well, although theirs are relatively more modern. With quite the unified design language, no less. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Indeed.
I am Ron Ibuki. I found my way here after I got lost.
Good morning, Tama-chan. Oh,
Lost? I hear you can eavesdrop on their conversations.
oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Good morning, Tama-chan.
Good morning, Toyama-san. Sorry.
Oh, the voices of people speaking around you will appear in the voice speech bubbles in the right overhead corner. Newest will be indented further until the next bubble arrives. Check the position. Check the logs for lines marked with it. Oh, it's recorded in the logs. Oh, that's cool. Lines heard through eavesdropping this way will be recorded in the order in which they were heard. Okay.
But we're in the mountains and the tunnel road's been closed off? Oh, thank God it's someone with common sense.
Finally, someone's asking the questions. Are you on duty today?
It gets so lost that...
Oh.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. These are kind of like playing as...
Yeah. The student in the tuxedo uniform is the first person in the school to actually ask why I appeared in here at all?
She's got the brain cell. No wonder Makoto's not here yet. She never gets up this early, does she?
I'm more than happy enough with Asakura-san's usual willingness to accompany me to class. Well, if I just tell her that I don't know what's going on either, it'll just make her more suspicious of me. Might even impede my ability to converse with the other students. My best hope for now is to just blunder through and talk to her again later once I've understood her a little better.
There's a tactical bluff.
I don't know why, but I have a feeling she's going to be very helpful to me in the future. I don't remember either. I just know I came to this area to look for someone, and before I'd realized, You haven't actually answered my question, have you? Are you hiding something?
Ooh, sharp.
Too much brain cell.
Okay, Miho, you can stop bothering the new girl now. Hands off the brain cell. A student named Aya put both her hands on Ron's shoulders, looking quite pleased. It's rare for us to get a new student. Try your best to get along with her. Go by Ron-chan, right? I'm Aya. Aya Toyama. Oh, sketchy. Oh.
Ron, why don't you ever draw them with clothes?
No thoughts, head girls.
Even though I know she's calling me Ran-chan in Japanese, it still sounds so awkward in Chinese.
Ah. The rude but cute one over there is Miho Take.
Aya, I suggest you keep your distance from her.
Sus.
Plus,
Ooh, scowl. Understandable. Still no clothes. For dropping that parting shot, Miho retreated back to her own desk as though she'd lost all interest in participating in a conversation related to Ron. Aya Toyama? Ooh. Investigation
good
5.
stats.
Yeah, solid. Alacrity 6, Charisma 4. Uniform styled after sportswear, winter sportswear. Constantly smiling cheerfully. Seems almost naively innocent. Wheeling to speak facetiously to Miho Take, who's unwilling to reveal her true feelings. Intriguing. Sharper than she lets on. Excitable and affectionate? What's the meaning of the crest? Neck choker? Choker? She's a bit taller than Indo. Think she's a rock star?
She is.
True. Wait, what? How'd I get here?
Hmm.
Portrait. Well, I don't know if
It's a mystery.
yeah, intriguing. I think it's a page missing. Investigation 8. True and true. Alacrity 2. Charisma 6. Uniform styles for Western styled suits. Calm and collected. Oop. The only student to express suspicion about Ron. However, her intentions toward Ron seem to be benevolent. Ron harbors positive feelings toward her, but even Ron herself can't explain where these feelings originate. Girls.
That feel when girls.
That feel when girls. Teardrop mole. Incredibly pretty. Not as much as Miss Sakura, of course.
Ideal proportion.
Very long legs. Ideal proportions. This is the platonic ideal of women proportions. Oh, pretty smart too, apparently. Weird patterns on the neck of her uniform. Huh.
The uniform that she did not draw there.
True. No thoughts, said girls. Don't worry, Ron-chan. Miho always talks like that, but I know the truth. She's very happy that we got a new classmate in our school as well.
It's called tsundere. Not in the slightest.
You answered that way too fast.
What even is up with these two? Are they doing a bit?
Possibly.
So Toyoma's got a choker on her neck. Seems like she's got a peculiar taste. Is this an SMN thing?
Very possible. Alright. Might regret this, but...
Toyama, did you embroider the crest on your uniform yourself?
You're asking about the crest, Ron-chan? But you've been staring at my choker the entire time. That's what you're really curious about, isn't it?
Dodging the question.
I pointed at the star-shaped bangle dangling over the choker of her neck. Because you were insincere. I'm not going to tell you this time. Ask again later.
Well, that's not fair. I mean, how are you supposed to start a conversation off by asking about a choker? Hey, baby, mind if I snap it? Well, it's not important, I guess. Let's just ask what she thinks about the tunnel.
You know what else likes choking?
Hey.
Hey.
My missing presumed dead girlfriend. Look, Toyama, I can't afford to stay here too long.
Correct.
If there's any way out of here other than the collapsed tunnel, please let me know about it.
Ways out, huh?
Even though I'd like for you to leave as quickly as possible, there really are no other ways out. That said, are you implying that you need to flee for some reason? Like an
Also
escaped
sus.
criminal? You've completed whatever nefarious mission it was you infiltrated the school for, so now you're getting ready to flee. You're being overdramatic. I really am just an ordinary high schooler who got lost, alright? So she is still in high school?
Possibly. Or else she's just playing the bid. That is odd.
Maybe she dropped out to look for Sakura.
Also true. Miho turned away once again and began pulling textbooks out from her desk. I, on the other hand, deposited her head onto Ron's shoulder, facing Miho, and whispered, "Isn't she just like a shy kitten? She's adorable, right? So try not to let her rile you up, and do your best to get along together, Ron-chan."
I'll try, even though I'm more of a dog person, personally. As far as the school is concerned, I think Yorino's the only cat it needs. I guess she's more like a feral cat, whereas Take is closer to a house cat?
Oh. Huh? I started giggling at Ron's words. She gave Ron a few pats on the shoulder, then bounced back to Miho's side, where the two of them started chatting about other things. Ron shrugged, folded up the bag, and headed toward the storage cabinet in the back of the classroom.
Thank you for helping, Ibuki-san. No need to thank me. This place is immaculately clean, honestly. barely even had anything to do.
Ooh, hello. Should I take her?
Yeah.
Tama-chan, finished with your daily duties?
Asakura-san!
She's so tall.
Oh, she's down bad.
Oh, yes. After hearing Asakura's voice, Tama ran over to the back door immediately. Ron returned to the storage cabinet and looked towards Tama and Asakura.
Ah, so in this extended pet metaphor, if Indo is the puppy, then I suppose she's the owner? I imagine if Indo had a tail, she'd be acting right about now.
Cute, but it isn't.
Yeah.
True and true. Tama and Asakura didn't chat for long before Tama lifted a hand and gestured at Ron. Asakura's eyes widened upon seeing Ron. She bent down and whispered a few more things to Tama. Tama nodded in response, and Asakura laughed before approaching Ron. I wasn't expecting to see any strangers in the school. Asakura held out her hand for Ron to shake. I'm Makoto Asakura. Your name is Ron Ibuki, correct? Makoto!
Hmm.
Oh, that's an interesting profile.
Darkness.
Imprisoning me.
That's right, I'm Ron Ibuki, the Lost Wanderer.
Oh. Math homework yesterday was so hard. Help me, Miho.
Oh, she's that Asakura who's responsible for maintenance. Looks like the no-nonsense type. Absolutely not. You're only having trouble because you're lazy and you don't study.
True and true. Oh, seems like you're a pretty interesting person. Though you might feel a little lost at first.
Good morning, Tama.
Having just arrived, you'll find that everyone here is quite nice. You definitely won't find yourself bored.
Good morning, Take-san. Everyone's been quite friendly. Such as Take, for instance. Actually, I've been having trouble keeping up with math class like Toyama-san as well. Even though we don't have any teachers, we're going at our own pace here.
Honestly. Ooh. Ooh.
It would only need 1 point to pry.
We could.
But would it do anything?
What was that? We needed one more charisma. Let's do it. Charisma's been temporarily boosted. Charisma's now 7. The remaining temporary points are 6. Back. Check past. Yeah.
Tama mentioned to me that she received a text from you every morning, Asakura. She always gets quite excited whenever she brings you up.
Makoto Asakura nodded, her eyes flitting over to Tama, who was in the middle of a conversation with Miho. Almost at that exact moment she looked over, Tama looked up and waved back at her as well. Well, there's always a new text from her sitting in my phone first thing every morning. After all, so of course I have to send a reply.
I know what you are.
Gay. Gay. Lesbian gay. Asakura waved back to Tama as she continued speaking. Let's talk about you first for now. There's not a lot going on with me that's worth talking about. Let's find out what's going on with you. Man. Very strong stats. Style after Western style suits. Adaptable and difficult to shock, but indifferent for the collected way. Skilled in speaking diplomatically. The way Tama Indo behaves around her seems almost servile in nature.
Do you remember that Legend of Korra post that was like, actually Korra and Asami are basically heterosexual because they have the relationship of a noblewoman and her handmaiden?
Oh, yes! Who's the noblewoman? Who's the handmaiden? Yes! It's them.
The feudal lord and the handmaiden, yeah.
Indo's master? Makoto Asakura? Ultimate high school level feudal lord?
Asakura, I still have something very important to do, so I can't afford to stay here. You know where the nearest station is. I'll help you with the homework after classes are over then.
Oh,
Only Tama.
cute. Only Tama. Not I.
Take-san.
Makoto Asakura folded her arms in front of her chest and thought for a moment before speaking. If you head west on the path that leads out of the school gate, you'll reach a tunnel eventually. If you go through that, you can find a station pretty quickly. Me-ho, why won't you teach me too? But certain events have caused the tunnel to become blocked, so you're probably out of luck there.
Because unlike you, Tama takes what she does seriously.
I don't know when they'll send people to handle the situation either. Even someone like me, who's in charge of maintenance at the school, can't do anything about the tunnel. Asakura started giggling to herself for some reason. Ron didn't see what was so funny, though. Ooh.
As you just need to work harder and to spend less time with your guitar at night. You jealous of the guitar?
No, if you're planning to check it out for yourself, you should pick a later date. On the way here, I noticed the skies have already begun darkening. Imagine it's gonna rain pretty soon. Ron nodded in response.
Most students here seem to share the same attitude when it comes to the collapsed tunnel. Nobody seems to be concerned at all, even though it's such a major hazard.
Who was that who had updated? Aya? Plays the guitar in her spare time. True. I think that's who it said was updated. Something off about her. That's intriguing. I want to know more. What is up with her? You said you had something important to do before, though. What do you mean by that? Ron blinked. She hadn't expected that Makoto Asakura would want to revisit what Ron had mentioned a few minutes ago, after answering Ron's questions.
Interested in the things that I say?
What is this feeling?
My girlfriend's missing. I'm looking for her.
That feel with no GF. Girlfriend? You? Could have raised an eyebrow.
You got Riz?
Ah, very well then. If you run into any problems at school, don't hesitate to give me a call. Koda waved goodbye to Ron and then took a seat with Tama.
Asakura and Ingo look almost like mother and child next to each other. Height difference, Pog.
Yeah, height difference, Pog. Feudal lord and handmaiden. Ron, seeing everyone else return to their seats, headed for an empty desk near the classroom door as well. She sat down at the desk and took her phone out. The screen indicated that it was currently 6:52. She'd originally just wanted to burn spare time before the rest of the students arrived in the classroom to start the morning meeting. When she saw her lover's photo, Ron gave a deep sigh and slumped onto the desk. That feel with no GF. The noises of other students' conversations around her faded into white noise as Ron remembered the time she'd spent alone with her lover in their classroom.
Don't think about these things. Just focus on what's in front of you. She's cute.
I'm vibing with her. I love her attitude. Who is this?
Good morning, everyone.
An unfamiliar voice came from above. Is this Goro-sensei?
Oh,
Ron slowly
good
turned
morning,
her head.
everyone. I don't know what his dub voice sounds like.
Ron slowly turned her head and saw a new face.
Now, counting this girl, I've seen 6 people now, just missing the last one then.
Who is lucky number 7? Oh.
Oh, whoa? Why is there a stranger here? Feels like I've heard that response a billion times today by now.
Mood.
Good morning, my name is Ibuki, and I got lost and arrived here by accident. Lost? Here? How could that be?
Good question. The girl seemed somewhat panicked and looked toward the rest of her classmates for support. Aya flashed a big "okay" sign at her with both hands. Don't worry, Prez. Ran-chan's a good classmate.
Well, except for how she's an extremely suspicious outsider and all. Wait, give me a moment to calm down.
The class president laid a hand on her chest and took a couple of deep breaths before straightening herself and speaking.
Ran-chan, it's nice to meet you. My name is Koizumi Hinata.
Oh. Hinata Kozumi. Smile. Eyes still full of darkness, though. Concerning.
Very concerning. I'm the class president, and I'd like to formally welcome you to our class. Thanks, but my name's Ron Ibuki, not Ron-chan.
Ah, got that from Aya.
Look, Miss President, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get out of here. I don't plan to join the class, and besides, I'm not even from here in the first place. Do you know a way to get out of here, class president?
Let's check her out first and foremost. Hinata Koizumi. Charisma 6. Ooh, surprisingly low stats. Uniform started with her sleeveless dress with a shirt and shawl. She was selected as class president. She took the responsibility very seriously. Indecisive and hesitant, tends to go with the flow when others propose ideas or suggestions. Easily falls into confusion when faced with unexpected situations. Always blushing? Seems meek and obedient. Pattern on that headband is... Glasses would suit her. Glasses.
Don't you think we should give everyone glasses?
Correct. That is deep and true.
It's unfortunate, but the only path out of here, the tunnel, can't be used at the moment. Heard that one a million times as well today. Okay, so do you know when it might be fixed then? I don't know either, but it won't have any effect on our life here at school, so you don't need to worry about that at all, Ibuki-san.
That's exactly the thing I am worried about.
Come on, let's get you up to the front of the classroom so you can introduce yourself like a normal school.
Like a normal school with a normal class that you're joining now.
Why? I'm not a transfer
Oh. Sorry, yeah. Going up there, Ibuki. I thought you'd like to run your mouth. Sai entered the classroom from the rear entrance, took a seat in the second furthest row from the front, still carrying a bag in her hands.
You ought to know.
Join the school, Don and Freya. We are joining. Whether we like it or not, we've been adopted into the class.
About school.
Ron realized that everyone in the class was looking at her now, with Koizumi's expression being particularly enthusiastic.
If I keep refusing, it'll just make my presence here awkward. There's no need for me to push back against all of them at the same time. Wonder if Yono picked this moment to show up on purpose, though.
You're totally eavesdropping outside.
Alright then, as you wish, President.
Koizumi looked quite pleased, and without even setting her own school bag down first, grabbed Ron and started to pull her toward the lectern. She moved too quickly and inadvertently tripped over one of the corners of the lectern. At that moment, Ron... Oh no! This is the Riz.
And we only have 6 temp points left, I think.
True. Ibuki. Oh, we did pick up a 6th point. What do we need for that? 6? Do we want to spend 3 points to flaunt the Riz?
Half of our points to help the Prez.
Let's do it. Actually, it's now 5. Oh shit. Whoops.
Ah.
Well, worth it. Ah! Oh, sorry.
Whoa, class rep.
She got so shocked she sounded like me for a moment. Ron dashed forward, catching Koizumi with her left hand and her school bag on her right.
Are you okay, class president? And then she dokies. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, she was so dokying. You notice the bird on her belt buckle there.
Oh.
That's an interesting detail. Ron noticed that Koizumi had taken a very sharp intake of breath just then, as though she'd been panicked or scared about something. Ron decided to say something to try and calm her down.
Like a doki-like gasp? The past me surely would have never thought of such a thing. It's all thanks to Miss Sakura's support that I've become capable of engaging with strangers. You smell quite You smell quite lovely this morning, class president. What brand shampoo do you use?
It's all thanks to Miss
My-
Sakura. I can
My God, she's trying.
I can lay out the riz.
Lovely? Isn't that lovely?
It is working.
I don't remember. This morning I used someone else's shampoo while showering at the door.
Koizumi's hands fell lightly onto Ron's shoulders, and the pace of her breathing quickly became quite irregular.
Wait, what's this?
Ron happened to be still holding onto Koizumi's school bag with her right hand, and she noticed that she could feel a strange texture in her palm. Oh,
What is this in here? Soft, not like a textbook at all, and when I apply pressure, it makes a sound. Dog toy.
what?
Plastic bag. It feels like there's something thick and slippery inside it.
Oh no, what have we unlocked?
Ibuki-san, I'm fine now. Excuse me.
Ron let go, allowing Koizumi to stand up on her own. Only then did she notice that Koizumi was blushing furiously, and that she was studiously avoiding Ron's eyes.
There's something wrong, President. Do you have a fever? No, just... Oh, and you embraced me just now, Ibuki-san. I got a little nervous, so my heartbeat went into disarray.
We spent 4 points to pull that maneuver, so...
And we didn't need that fourth one.
yeah.
I didn't peg you for a jokester, class president.
Accidentally bumped our charisma up an extra point, so we dropped that shampoo line on her.
No, I really was. Never mind. Sakura sexual baby.
Suddenly, Aya rose with a shout. Class President, did I just see you and the transfer student embracing each other? Oh no.
Oh, no, Ibuki-san just stopped me from falling, that's all.
And now she's fallen, and now you're falling for her.
You also clearly... you
Relatable.
You clearly also saw me almost tripped, didn't you? Aya, don't make fun of Hinata.
Okay. Got it. After Miho finally finished speaking, Aya sat back down in her seat obediently.
My apologies. I've made a laughingstock of myself in front of you before all of you. First time I've ever heard anyone say the word laughingstock in everyday conversation. Guess this made more sense in Chinese.
Alright.
Please proceed with your self-introduction, Ibuki-san. Sure. Try to be more careful, class president.
She still got that grin. Ron stepped up to the lectern and swept her gaze over all the students in the classroom.
President, should I really start my introduction now? Aren't we missing someone?
Oh?
That's right, she hasn't arrived yet. The class president's response seems a bit strange. Sakura-san hasn't shown up yet, but she woke up even earlier than I did this morning. I'd have thought...
Oh boy.
Someone with the same family name as Miss Sakura. Now I'm worried about meeting them. I'm missing Miss Sakura.
Oh no.
Hinata, have you forgotten?
Mio spoke lightly with her fingertips interwoven and steepled.
You picked lots yesterday. It's possible she's the victim this time round.
The what?
Victim?
Ron ruminated on this strange phrase, one which wasn't supposed to show up in a regular conversation between high school students.
What are they talking about? If Miss Sakura was the victim, then she might already be dead, right? Dead?
Ron let out a small shriek. Gosh, this round's killer sure got right to work.
What are you all talking about?
And according to the rules, we're gonna have to cancel the morning classes and skip right to the coursework. This is the free time. As soon as Sai finished speaking, she picked up her bag and left her seat. Ron looked about in bewilderment, hoping someone would explain things to her, but the others were also cleaning up their things and getting ready to leave. They saw Sakura earlier this morning while swimming. It's possible her corpse is somewhere around there. Let's go in.
Hold on?
Ron couldn't stand the growing stress in her heart anymore. She felt like she was going to explode from the pressure if she didn't do something about it.
It's just, what are you all trying to say?
Yeah, they're just going on about it like this is completely and utterly normal to him.
That person who didn't show up, you called her... Sakura?
Ron couldn't breathe, and she couldn't say the name. Lost control of her heartbeat again and clenched her fists until her fingernails pierced the skin of her palm to forcibly regain control over her emotions. Ron had to take several deep breaths before she was able to speak normally again.
That person who hasn't shown up yet, what did you say happened to her?
Izumi approached Ron, seeming rather concerned about Ron's sudden irregular behavior.
What's wrong? Ibuki-san, are you feeling unwell? Forget that, answer me!
Ron's outburst stunned Koizumi slightly, rose up without giving her an answer. Miho, seeing the situation, intervened in quickly and spoke.
It's as they said, the person who hasn't shown up yet has most likely already been killed. The killer is one of the 6 of us.
Hearing those words, Ron's brow furrowed. He looked at everyone in the room, trying to divine from their expressions if this was some practical joke they were all playing on her, to no avail. The stress that immediately came upon her afterwards pushed her half to her knees. She was forced to lean on the wall for support as she broke out in sweat again. She felt the urge to dry heave, a sign that her illness was about to act up again. She didn't want to reveal those symptoms to anyone in this room. The image of a torn sheet of paper flashed through her mind once again.
You're saying that you've killed someone?
We've already said it a bunch of times, haven't we? Yeah, one of our classmates has been killed by someone in this class. They once again confirmed the truth of this bizarre situation.
What's going on? What is happening in this school? What kind of place have I been brought to? Weren't things fine just a moment ago? How did it suddenly become like Danganronpa?
Right. By this point, the other students had encircled Ron, who was squatting on the floor. They were all looking at her. But Ron, the subject of their gaze, was afraid to look up at them, feared that she'd see that their faces had already begun to melt. Ibuki, why are you freaking out?
Why should I not be freaking out?
Correct. Correct. Ron was quietly hyperventilating.
Forget seeing the corpse, just your nonchalant attitude and the way you're all talking about something like this is enough to make you want to panic like a crab in a deep fryer.
That's a very...
And then Tama asked, what is a deep fryer?
I sure ain't never seen a crab that can still crack a joke like that after it's already been thrown in the fryer. Ryan used the periphery of her vision to peek at Sai's face. It didn't look like there were any irregularities. She relaxed slightly at that and slowly raised her head to look at the other students.
You don't look like you're putting up an act.
Mio bent down and began to gently stroke Ron's back.
I'm responsible for filling the role of the school nurse. Here, let me take a look at you.
We do have maintenance, we have class president.
No, I think the missing person is the one who really needs your attention right now. Don't worry about it, she's already dead.
True. Okay. That just tells us that information. Interesting information. We all have a school role here.
Mm-hmm.
Miho chuckled a little.
You're absolutely right. If you think there's nothing wrong with yourself, then stand up and come along, and let's go find the corpse together.
Let's go find a corpse. Let's go find a corpse and have a corpse party.
Yay!
In a school. Miho offered her hand for Ron to take as she turned to speak to Sai.
Erna-san, lead the way if you will.
Sure thing. Fair warning, though, I don't actually know if her corpse is really there. All I know is that I saw her hanging around there when I was swimming. Miho pulled Ron to her feet and then nodded at Sai.
I think it's quite likely that's the place then. After all, Ann hardly ever visits the swimming pool.
Welp. Ah, that's true. I've never seen Ann go swimming out of her own volition. She might well have met with the killer there before getting killed. Then we should get going quickly. It'd be pitiful to leave Ann there by herself, all by herself for too long. We should deal with it sooner rather than later, so that she can be at peace, right? Oh, just as the three of them finished speaking, a loud noise came from the direction of the lectern. Ron, who just managed to get to her feet, had once again fallen to her knees. Trembling all over, she seized Miho's wrist with both hands. Ron stared at her with such an intensity that even the normally unflappable Miho Take was startled, flinching backwards instinctively. Uh-oh.
That person who didn't come, the one you said might have been killed, what was their name?
Miho seemed like she was suppressing her own disordered thoughts and to keep herself calm. She turned her wrist and grabbed Ron's hand, trying to pull her off the ground. But Ron's tight grasp on her almost caused Miho to collapse instead.
Answer me, what was her name? What's up with you? Alright, I don't know why you have to ask about this right now, but... Name of the person we've been talking about is Ann Sakura.
There. Ron has updated her notes.
Good for her.
Ron Ibuki is always like the rain. She especially loved it when it started storming without warning. Watching strangers outside her window scramble around for shelter while she hid safely at home gave her an indescribable sense of security. She told Ann about this. Her love asked her, "But how would you feel if I were the one trapped in the rain?"
What did I answer her back then?
Would you still love me if I turned into a, eclipse
Unconditionally, I'm sure.
Eclipse silkworm? Eclipse silkworm, yes. Ron trod behind everyone else as they headed toward the place where Sai had said she had last seen Ann. She didn't say a word and only occasionally looked up toward the sky, watching the dark clouds slowly converge.
If Sakura-san knew she might get killed, why would she go there at all in the first place?
She's always been pretty cooperative with her killers. But she never put up much of a fight whenever I was supposed to kill her either. Sorry? Students ahead of her all seemed quite at ease. They'd spent the whole trip discussing Ann and the murderer with each other. Ah, that's true. Whenever it's Ann's turn to be the victim, the culprit always tends to strike quickly.
Hang on now. You shouldn't let yourselves get spoiled just because Ann's so easy to work with. If we keep relying on her cooperation, then we'll have to change the rules eventually.
Shouldn't we just focus on who the culprit is first anyways? If she really did die near the swimming pool, then wouldn't that make me the prime suspect?
Does that make Yororo-san the culprit then?
And let me tell you, it's not a bad thing to be so straightforward, but you're not going to find the answer that way. Hey, it's not like she's completely straightforward. Tama frequently surprises all of us with the things she chooses to do. Isn't that right, Tama?
I bet she's so good at murder.
Right. It's because she's the last one you'd expect. I'm realizing what or who Makoto was giving me vibes of, and
Yeah?
am I wrong for thinking that she's giving me Makima vibes?
Oh my god. I was so focused on the mysterious Miss Sakura giving Makima vibes, I didn't notice.
Right. Tama shook her head fiercely.
I just picked up a few things from my books, is all, because I haven't had the chance to read often before.
She's studying modern murder.
Oh. And despite knowing my methods, Sasakura-san's never exposed me before.
Well, we did read those books together, after all. Bonding over murder. Listening to the students' conversations, Ron began scratching her scalp again, and it didn't stop the pressure from rising within her.
Hey, are you okay?
Slowing her steps, Miho came to Ron's side.
I'm fine.
was gonna say Miho seems like the perfect fusion of Sakura and Tosaka.
Osaka?
Rin. Miho seems like a perfect fusion of those siblings. Shouldn't you? I'm discombobulated.
Shouldn't you be happy that I'm suffering anyways? Queen. I thought you hated me.
Ron turned her head away, not wanting to speak to Miho.
Dumpy. You're making me sound like some kind of psychopath. I don't hate you, okay? I just wanted to know why you showed up here at our school.
Understandable. Miho tilted her head slightly and inspected Ron's face carefully.
No face, trembling lips, pupil dilations, pretty unnatural too. Any headache? A bit.
Mouse bites. Prescribed mouse bites. Miho pressed her hand against Ron's forehead for a moment.
Oh, at least there's no fever. All right, I can probably imagine what you're thinking. You knew Ann previously, didn't you? You could tell from your uniform the other students should have noticed as well. So once you heard she'd been killed, you weren't able to wrap your mind around the idea, which is why you're in your present condition. The first time we went through all this, we had pretty much the same reaction as you did, but once we got used to it, we found it wasn't a big deal after all.
Okay, this does have to be some kind of time loop. As soon as Miho had stopped speaking, Ron seized Miho's shoulder with a sudden hand. Noticing that something wasn't right, the other stopped as well.
Got used to what? Murdering your own classmates or discussing the deceased with mockery? Just explain to me, why do you have to do things like this? You really committed murder?
Don't be so quick to judge things you don't understand, Ibuki.
That no one explains to her.
True.
Well, make me understand then. Explain what exactly you've done clearly.
Use full sentences and big words. Ron felt Miho pressing a hand onto Ron's, so she turned her head and met Miho's eyes.
Ibuki-san, please calm down. Let's find Ann's corpse first. Then we'll explain everything to you properly after you see her corpse.
Right. That is going to be that is going to be the perfect condition to calm and explain.
Right now, even if we tried to tell you everything, you'd have a hard time comprehending it. But if you see the corpse, I'm sure you'll understand as well. By the way, warning for gore.
Oh, okay. Duly noted. Warning for gore. Be very wary. Ron's hands trembled and she shook her head helplessly.
What could I possibly understand?
Ron let go of Miho. Now it was Miho's turn to take hold of Ron's shoulder.
Let's go.
The conditions aside, she does have a pretty solid nursing demeanor. I can appreciate that.
Don't worry, Ibuki-san. Sakura-san will be okay.
I want to trust you, Tama.
He is, however, dead.
I want to trust you, Tama, but I'm very scared. Faced with Tama's supportive words, Ron had no idea how she was supposed to respond. She could only force out the barest of grimaces. Okay. Hey, Bakoto. Pretty.
Asakura-san, will the swimming pool freeze this year as well? Will the seasons still pass?
Yeah, the temperature's already gotten pretty low. It'll probably freeze over very soon. Yono, you should consider spending less time swimming, too. You get a cramp at the swimming pool during the winter. I definitely won't jump in to save you.
And drown.
It's not like I've ever seen you there even when it wasn't winter. Plus, I'm used to it already. It'll be fine.
Used to it?
Everyone's so used to it here, it's scary. Ooh, was it snows again? We can build snowmen in the courtyard again. Let's build a chibi Miho in the snow together, Sai-chan. Are you bringing that back up on purpose? Oh, right, that one time Sai-chan got killed, they hid your corpse in a snowman, didn't they? Hardcore. Almost scared me to death when I went to shovel up the snow that day. All I can say is, that sure is Tama for you. Always exceeding our expectations. Tama hid a corpse in a snowman? Tama hid Sai's corpse in a snowman? Damn.
Oh, she's so shy about it.
About your talent. About your murder talent. Tama's embarrassed expression made everyone crack up.
What?
Understand. Relatable. We're almost there. See the old shower room up there? I saw Sakura go in there this morning. Ron lifted her head, looking where Sai was pointing. Even found it odd at the time, as I only ever used the new shower room on the other end myself. The old showers are much less convenient. We're going Danganronpa 2 Chapter 2 style.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So that's where Miss Sakura is right now?
Ron took a few steps forward, eyes glued on the showers.
Ibuki-san.
Ron rushed toward the old shower room and pushed Miho, standing in front of her, out of the way with one hand.
Ibuki-san.
Ron's footsteps grew faster and faster as she knocked Sai's shoulder out of the way as she charged forward. Ron rushed into the shower room that Sai had indicated. Clutching the frame of the door, she stared at the girl leaning against the wall before her. Ron pulled her shoulders in, not sure where she should put her hands. She flailed her arms meaninglessly in the air, as though she'd forgotten how to control her own body. Relatable, girl. Relatable. Finally, she brought them to her hands to her before her own face, letting her fingers wander up and down her face like kudzu. Ron pried her mouth open with her hands and finally let out a shriek. Without question, the corpse in front of her was the love of her life, Ann Sakura. Gore. "11037.